Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Merry Christmas. Say, I love football. Say this. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Tampa. Tampa. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Say Tampa.
Tampa.
Bay. Bay. Oh my God, she's so smart and she's so precious. I love her to death.
BetUS.com. If you guys are betting on the games, whether it's NFL, NCAA, of course, you're not going to do that now. Maybe basketball, not football, but of course, the NHL, NBA, go to BetUS.com. You get a 125% sign-up bonus. And also, if you use this code right here, the promo code of TSW22, which, by the way, stands for the sports web, TSW22, or call that number 1-800-69-BET-US. Again, 1-800-69-BET-US, and put in that promo code TSW22, and I would really appreciate that. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television here live on I Love St. Pete and also the Hub. It's Hub Life. That 25,000 subscribers out there. Thank you very much for welcoming me on that platform. And of course, the Sports Web live on YouTube. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. How do we start off this show? Because I'm excited to get ready for it. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. So the suspense is gone. I put it out there. Who would Bucs fans like to see the Bucs play? And of course, the resounding answer was the Arizona Cardinals. Unfortunately, the LA Rams had other ideas. And that's the reason why Arizona's not moving on, by the way. Because they're not a good team. They're not. Period. And as somebody told me off the air, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So I get on Facebook, as I always do. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web. And all I hear is Bucs fans scared. And I get it. It's a tough challenge. You got Matt Stafford, the Rams, 4 touchdowns the last time the Rams faced the Bucs. 34-24. Now they got Odell Beckham. Oh, what are we going to do? They got Cooper Kupp. They got Cam Akers. They got Von Miller. They got Aaron Donald. They got Leonard Floyd. And it's going to be a tough matchup. But some of you Bucs fans act like, you know what? The game's already over. Forget it. It's over with. Played, done. Brady lost. He got sacked 400,000 times in the game. Bucs have no chance. I don't get it. I don't understand this. Please explain this to me. I understand the fear, but then again, I don't. We know how this goes, guys. We knew how it went last year. All last year. The doubters, the national media, and get ready. It's about to happen again. The sky is falling. The Bucs are going to get crushed by the Rams. Let it play out. Let's see if Tristan Wirfs is going to play. Let's see if Ryan Jensen's going to play. But you guys keep on forgetting. You don't learn. Some of you guys just never learn, do you? This ain't the regular season, Tom Brady. This is the postseason, Tom Brady. This is also a better team that's going to face the Rams on Sunday at 3 o'clock at Raymond James Stadium. You're going to have Shaq Barrett back. You're going to have JPP back. You're going to have the majority of your secondary back, which you didn't have in the first matchup. So let's not sit here and act like we have selective amnesia and that the Bucs can't beat good teams. Some of you think no matter who they play, they're not good enough. You know what that tells me? You're a hater. That's what that tells me. You're a hater. Let it play out. The Bucs have offensive weapons. They have defensive guys that can stop. They get paid to play too. And why not exercise the curse? Right? I mean, all we heard from the national media and some local media, no way they could beat the Saints after they got swept last year, but they did in the playoffs. Oh, they did. Rams 79, Rams 99. Still have a bad taste in my mouth from that NFC Championship game. I know you do. So why not? Why can't the Bucs do it with Tom Brady? Why can't their offense come out and score some points? Why can't their defense come and knock Matt Stafford on his ass? Why can't they do it? Let's be positive tonight here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. We'll have Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag. Harry the Greek of 1252 Chicago Sports, professional handicapper extraordinaire. And then after that, Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer, talking some wrestling, talking around the NFL, Sirius XM Radio, a little national perspective. So you ready? Are you ready to go? Let's go. Let's do it.
How about them Bucks, baby?
All right, let's go out to our first guest here, the legend himself, from a Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions. Here we go. All right, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions. Welcome to the Evolution. We'll save the calls for now. Calling call back. Welcome. And now we know the fate of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be Bucs versus the Rams on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Your thoughts?
Well, Peter, I was disappointed in the Cardinals. They were totally not ready for prime time. And, Murray was rattled from the first series. The Rams knew what they wanted to do and did it, and Arizona imploded. And that was kind of surprising to me. I thought Arizona would put up a better show, but when Kyler Murray threw that interception out of the end zone, and I know what he was trying to do, but take the 2. You're down 16-0, not 21-0. And that was just it. It was over after that point. So,
well, he was doing his best Jameis Winston impression at that point. I mean, that's what it came down to. Murray for the game, 19 for 34, 137, 2 interceptions, and he looked like a deer caught in headlights. And honestly, I get it. You know, this big bad defense. Now you've got Von Miller and Aaron Donald. But as a quarterback, at the end of the day, you've still got to make great decisions. And if you don't do that and you put your team in that situation, more times than not, you're going to lose.
Yeah, Peter, you got to make decisions, and you got to make good decisions. But what you got to do is make decisions quickly. And if you look at the teams that moved on, their quarterbacks made quick decisions. And that's what I expect to see when we get to Saturday and Sunday. That the quarterback that makes the quickest decisions will be the teams that move on. Because, Peter, right now, I'm looking for the game to be in the 40s with the Bucs and the Rams.
Wow.
And again, I'm looking at this from the worst possible perspective. If Tristan Wirfs can't go, or he's not able to go at 100%, all the Rams are going to do is they're going to put Von Miller on one side, and they're going to move Aaron Donald out to end and rush on the edge. And if Wells has to play, what that means is the Bucs are going to have to keep a tight end or a back in to help him, because it's just, next man up is great, but the next man up isn't an all-pro tackle.
Right.
So you're going to have to give him some help, and I'm looking for the Bucs right now to be probably game planning and saying, okay, maybe we'll go 2 tight ends that side just so we move Donald out. He's got to run a longer path. And look for Byron Leftwich, Bruce Arians to come up with game plans of quick strikes, 2 and 3 step drops where Brady gets it and gets it out in a hurry.
And we're getting a little bit of feedback, I guess. Are we still getting that feedback? I don't hear it now. Good stuff. And you go back to BA. He said this week, as tough as he is, I think there's a chance he and center Ryan Jensen will probably go all the way till Friday before we know anything is true. We'll just have to wait and see. You watched Wirfs. He tried to come into the game. People being very critical of this coaching staff, saying they're forcing players to go in. That's a player's decision, right? And then on top of it, you saw when Wirfs went back in on that series, he could barely move left to right, laterally, of course. So what do you think? Does he play in this game? Does he try to play in this game? Does Jensen play in this game? How do you think this works out on Sunday?
Peter, I think both of them, unless you cut their leg off, they're going to try to play.
Okay.
This will come down to a game time decision. They'll go out in the field, see if they can anchor. And for you people that don't know, when we talk about anchoring, that's what an offensive lineman does when he pass blocks. If they can anchor, they'll play. And again, the idea, are you hurt or are you injured? Everybody's hurt right now. You can't tell me that you go through 18 NFL games and now a playoff game. They're going to game number 20. Yeah, they're all hurt. Hurt, you play. Injured, you can't. And we saw that Sunday that Wirtz tried to play and he wasn't hurt. He was injured. He couldn't go. And that's, believe me, offensive linemen are a different breed. They'll go on broken legs, broken foots. Defensive linemen are the same way. Remember Jack Youngblood with the broken leg playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
You got Lawrence Taylor with a broken hand. Well, what's the worst that can happen? Well, pain. That's all. I'll play. No problem. So, yeah, it'll be a game time decision because these two guys are big protectors of Tom Brady. I think Jensen's got a better chance to play than Wirfs just because he was able to go back in and continue. But I'll tell you what, if they lost both of them, Peter, it'd be a long day.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a long day, and we're live here on the Hub. Of course, I love St. Pete. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. I got to go to this one shot really quick. There it is, the Hub Live. Thank you very much once again for welcoming us on the platform. The welcome, if I can say it. I cannot talk tonight. John Bowles says, what's up, Peter? What's going on, John? Chris Cole says, hey, what's up, Bucs fans? Rob, Crew Life. We win by 10. Us, the fans, will be loud as you know what. Chris Cole, it's going to be a shootout, defensive, or a blowout. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. Rams 40-16 over the Bucs. You're really starting out great tonight there, Troy. Appreciate you. Roger Shoe says, I'm here, Pete. Great. Michael Todd says, crew, Rob Thompson, Stafford will turn the ball over. Our defense will win the game. And I go back to the first matchup. Of course, Stafford with 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards of passing, but the majority of that back end was not there. And then on top of it, you have Shaq Barrett and JPP. So, of course, it comes down to what? Getting pressure on Stafford. Do you think this Bucs defensive line matches up well versus this Rams offensive line? And if they can get after Stafford, can they force him into some pick six situations?
Peter, I don't think so. I think the Bucs match up well, but I don't think Sean McVay is going to allow Matthew Stafford to hold the ball. I think this is going to be the dink and dunk championship of the National Football League. I think both teams are going to look at the 3 to 5, 7 yard window and just get the ball out to those speed guys. I mean, I really like what Arizona did defensively last night. It's going to sound stupid, but they took Cooper Kupp out of the game.
Sure.
And now you just got to figure out, okay, how are we going to cover these other guys? What I like about the Bucs defense is that they will force Stafford to throw early. What I don't like is you still got Levante David coming off the injury. You've got, again, JPP playing with one arm, and the secondary is still, held together by a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a slight at either defense, but I truly expect this game to both be in the 40s, like 45-41, just because of the offensive proficiency. There's an SAT word.
Wow, very nice. Very nice, my friend.
That both teams have. Again, you're looking at Sean McVay, who loves to go with misdirection. That will be interesting to see how the Bucs play that out. You got Tom Brady, who, like Arian says, once he figures you out, you're in trouble. And the Rams don't have a lot of things they can do defensively. You play a little man, but the problem is if 87 gets down the field, there's a problem because he can get behind the linebackers. Look for both teams to establish the run early, Peter. That's the key because now the play action game comes in.
And I think it's a key for both teams. And I think you've seen that with both teams' game plan, especially with the Rams. Of course, losing Cam Akers for the majority of the year, him coming back, it's an amazing story what he's come back from. But 17 carries, 55 yards last night. Sonny Michel, 13 for 58. That's over 100 yards, and that's also 20 carries between them. But to me, the game plan has to be, as always, the Rams are going to try to run. The Bucs have to stop the run, and you have to put the onus on Matt Stafford and make that offense one-dimensional. Is that how you see it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But again, Peter, you've got other weapons that they can use to run the football. Odell Beckham on reverses, Cooper Kupp on basically one of the long handoffs,
right?
Laterals to the back, the quick bubble screens. That's going to be what the Rams' modus operandi is. They've got to get out because Villa and Sue are going to put a whole lot of pressure up the middle. And as Ron Jaworski taught me, when you put color in a quarterback's face, he has problems. Look for Shaq and look for JPP and look for Joe Tryon and Nelson to come off that edge and try to make Stafford step up into that pressure. Again, I think both offenses, they're looking at this going, we can't hold the ball because if it goes 1,001, 1,002, 1,000, if it's 3 Mississippi, you're going to get hit. So again, both teams will be looking to get it out and get it out quick and get a lot of yak yards and get the get the ball in the hands of playmakers. Bottom line.
Going back to the Eagles game, and of course the Bucs dispose of the Philadelphia Eagles 31-15. You saw a lot of 2 tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, even 4 tight end sets with Aaron Stinney being that extra tight end. Could you see that again simply because of what the Rams do up front with an Aaron Donald, a Leonard Floyd, and of course a Von Miller, who seems like he's reinvigorated there, having a second wind, if you will, with the Rams in that pass rush?
Yeah, Peter, I don't think you'll see the Bucs go away from their 12 or 13 packages, which is 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends, especially if Wirtz can't play. You're going to have to put a tight end in there just to widen out Donald. If you decide that you're not going to do that, I think what that will tell the Rams, if there's not a tight end to Wirtz's side or Wells if he's got to play, that thing's coming out in a hurry. So you may see the Rams do a lot of zone blitzing because now what they're going to do is they know, okay, they're not helping this guy, so this pass has got to come out quick.
Mm-hmm.
They may try to confuse Brady, and again, it's a possibility. But by dropping one of those guys back into coverage, we've seen the Bucs. Look what happened with Shaq Barrett last week.
Sure.
They call him a linebacker, but he's a defensive end. He still drops back, makes a great play. So again, Todd Bowles is going to come up with basically a whole different defensive package. Because, Peter, let's go back to last year.
Mm-hmm.
Bucs lost to Kansas City. What happened? Bucs lost to New Orleans. What happened?
Right.
They figured it out. And again, that's the disadvantage you have when you win the first game, because now you can't go back to what you did because they're going to game plan and be ready for it. And a lot of teams are doing that. So the Rams, again, I think it'll come down, Peter, to who can kick the best. You know, you got a former Bucs kicker in Gay out there who's like 30, 33 or 34, 36 on field goals. And then you got Suck up here. I think this game will come down to a field goal, some way, shape, or form.
And one with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions. It's Sports Mag. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. You talk about Cooper Kupp and his matchups versus the Bucs in 2019. 9 catches for 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Of course, Monday Night Football 2020, 11 catches for 145. And this year, 9 catches for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. But now they have Odell Beckham. So if you're a defensive coordinator, how do you defend that Rams offense with Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, and of course the forgotten man that we never talk about on this show, Tyler Higbee?
Peter, I don't know. Like I said, I expect these teams to score points because there's so many ways they can go. Again, if the Rams with Sonny Michel or Cam Akers can establish a running game and force the linebackers to sit and honor that run, all of a sudden you'll see a lot of play action, a lot of quick stuff right behind them. The Bucs are going to try to do the same thing.
Right.
They're going to come out with a running game, and they're going to try to freeze the Rams linebackers because now you get Gronk, now you get Cameron Brate, you get O.J. Howard down the middle, you get Evans manned up because now you can't just play 4 in the box. You got to play 6, maybe 7.
Right.
And playing Mike Evans man-to-man is like suicide. It's like Russian roulette. Don't know when that bullet's coming out, but it's coming out. And you saw what happened with the Eagles. Bang. 1 play, 1 touchdown. That's what Mike Evans does. And, Peter, what we forget is a few years ago with Jameis Winston at quarterback, this Bucs offense cooked a 50 burger on the Rams
Correct.
in L.A.
Correct.
And they still got those people there in terms of offensive weapons. I think the big thing, you got to keep your quarterback upright. If you look at the end of the game, the dirtier quarterback is probably going to be behind.
I agree. And you look at Mike Evans, 9 catches for 117 yards, 1 touchdown, including the 36-yarder, the somersault in the end zone. The matchup to watch for, in your opinion, is Jalen Ramsey versus Evans. And if they decide to bracket coverage towards Evans, does that leave open a Gronkowski, a Tyler Johnson, a Scotty Miller? In that bunch, who do you think most likely steps up? Is it Gronk or somebody like a Johnson, a Miller, or a Perryman that would step up in that case?
I think look for Perryman to have a big game, Peter. If they're going to bracket, and again, the Bucs will figure that out early. If they're going to double team Evans, now you can do one of two things. You can put the tight end to his side, or you can single him up on the backside and go trips the other way, which is forcing that bracket to spread. Hard to bracket somebody when you got 3 receivers to one side and the guy you want to bracket is to the other. So look for both teams to try to formation coverage. And the Rams are conspicuously obvious with motion.
Okay.
They're going to motion every play. They're going to move. They want that defense to be thinking and be moving. So look for that to happen. The Rams use motion almost 100% of the time, just so they can get defenses to move and start to think. And again, Peter, anytime you got to move people around, there's a chance somebody will miss an assignment.
Absolutely. We're on with Leo Haggerty, the legend himself. Now let's talk about coaching and BA and what he did to Andrew Adams against the Eagles. He was asked on Monday about it, and he said, "No, I've seen enough dumb things with the actions. You can pull guys out of a pile. We just got a big play, great field position. He's trying to pull a guy out of the pile. I was trying to knock him off of that guy so he didn't get a penalty." A lot of people were up in arms because he was tapping the guy's helmet. That would be Adams. And, of course, giving him an elbow shot. Is it acceptable still for coaches to do this? Or do you think the NFL or NFL Players Association will have something to say? Because according to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, there is some concern with this, and they are taking care of the situation. So where do you lie on this, being an old school coach and knowing what BA is all about?
Peter, if I had $10 for every coach that hit me in the helmet because I was doing something stupid, I wouldn't have to get on your show.
So what are we talking about here? I mean, I get it. It's 2022, but is there too much of a big deal being made about this?
Peter, you're talking about a coach who's on one leg, okay? He's trying to get his players' attention to not cause a penalty because you're pulling a guy off the pile, right? And, yeah, I don't think Bruce Arians did any damage with that. This was more of optics than it was actual getting hit. He just hit him in the helmet with his elbow, basically saying, "Hey, wake up, pal. Get back."
Right.
It's just not like, again, Peter, we have, I guess you call it the pussification of football, whatever.
Right.
But it's an issue the NFL has to deal with just because of the optics. It's bad, but I don't think anything's going to come of it.
All right, good stuff there. Let me ask you about this playoff situation with the number 7 seeds. I mean, really, it's watered down. The NFL had no business doing this because you look at the number 7 seeds. Philly gets blown out, of course. Kansas City gets blown out. And I get it. It's an exciting thing to do on week 18, but really it's unnecessary, right? It kind of waters down the playoffs at the end of the day, right, Leo?
Peter, I hate to burst your bubble, but guess what? It's going to 8 teams next year.
Great.
Well, here's what it does. It's going to make it a little better because now, in my opinion, you don't extend the playoff, but you give the bye to the first and second teams. Now you've got 8 playing 3, 7 playing 4, and 6 playing 5. And what it does is it incentivizes the season to get that number 1 or number 2 because now they'll get you out. And what it does, Peter, is it makes another team eligible for the playoffs. It keeps them in. I mean, look how crazy it was this year with the Chargers and the Raiders playing that last game. With if they tie, both go in, but if they don't, one of the Steelers go in with the winner.
Right.
I mean, think about that. It's something that the NFL wants. It doesn't have to extend the season because you're going to play 3 games no matter what. And then you're going to play the 2 and then the 1 and then the Super Bowl. So I would not be surprised to see them go to 8 teams next year and increase that bye week to 2 teams instead of 1.
Speaking of the playoffs, the Dallas Cowboys do their their Dallas 2-step out of the playoffs, 1 and done at this point. I mean, who do you blame on that? Is it coaching staff? Is it Dak? The 14 penalties, and then you have Dak after the game saying it's okay for fans to throw debris at refs, not really backing off of that. I mean, does Mike McCarthy survive? Should Dak have known to give the ball to the official? I mean, what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys here, Leo? You watched that game.
Well, you know what, Peter? Everybody's blaming other people. The problem was when Dak slid, there was no official nearby for him to give the ball to. And again, I give the umpire credit. He's on a dead sprint trying to go up there.
Right.
And he's starting 15 yards behind the play, and he's sitting there watching holding, and all of a sudden, bam, there goes Dak. So Dak's 20 yards ahead of him. Now he's got to get on his horse. And I'll tell you what, I thought he did well. It was just the circumstances. He's looking for a referee. Okay, there's no referee. I got to put the ball down because I got to get under center to spike this thing. And again, it was just the way it was situated because now Dallas is lined up and the poor umpire can't get through.
Yeah.
It was just, now everybody's saying, okay, he should have gone only maybe 10 yards instead of 15. Well, that's all well and good, but
sure.
Hey, welcome to the game. And you don't have a clock in your head going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 5. No, doesn't happen that way. He did what he thought was right. And again, everybody's saying, well, give it to the umpire. How many people knew you had to give it to the umpire? People know, yeah, the referee has to spot the ball, but it's the umpire that's got to spot the ball. And what was Dak to do? Turn around and lateral to him? Say he'd have done that and the referee dropped the ball. Boy,
right.
Would that have been a circus show then, right?
Absolutely been a circus show. And speaking of a circus,
Peter, let's go back. Let's go back to the 49ers on the 4th down play.
Right.
What was the boy genius thinking there by moving the tackle from one side to the other on a quarterback sneak? What in God's name was he thinking?
And how can you not get set at that point if you're Trent Williams? I mean, if that's what you're going to do, you're going to get set. And then you have to go back 4th and 6 on that. It doesn't make any sense. And then just the whole game was crazy in itself. With all that being said, do you think that the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo supposedly with a sore shoulder, Nick Bosa coming out of concussion protocol, do they have an opportunity with those components of running the ball, not turning over the ball, and getting after an Aaron Rodgers? Can they go up to Lambeau on Saturday night and defeat the Packers, or is it Packers and that's it?
Peter, I think it's Packers, but let's go back to 2 years ago when the 49ers just rammed it down the Packers' throat and like 200-plus yards rushing.
Correct.
If San Francisco can go into Green Bay and run the football, guess who's not on the field then? Aaron Rodgers. He's
Correct.
on the sideline.
Correct.
Best way to keep the Packers off the board. I think the important thing in that game is the 49ers got to get the lead. They got to get ahead like they did in Dallas and force Aaron Rodgers to throw it on every down. But again, they beat them out in San Francisco in great weather. It's going to be cold. It's going to be maybe wet, snow. Who knows in Green Bay?
Sure.
I'll tell you what, Peter, it's not going to be like when the Bucs went up there in the 60 in the spring day. Not happening. I think the Packers get the job done, which really pains me because I would really love to see the 49ers win for the Bucs' sake.
Absolutely, because you get the opportunity to have, if you take care of your own business against the Rams, an opportunity to have the NFC Championship game versus the San Francisco 49ers. You look at Cincinnati versus Tennessee. Lots of intrigue there with the young team, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Do they have an opportunity to upset the Tennessee Titans? Or if they get back King Henry, it's basically a wrap for the Titans over the Bengals.
Oh, I think it's a wrap if they get him back again. Steve Varcardapone, who covers the Tennessee Titans for us, made the best statement I ever heard. I asked Steve, I said, hey, tackling Derrick Henry, is that a business decision? He said in the first quarter it is. It's a retirement decision in the fourth quarter. And again, what a great commentary that they are that good with him in the game.
Right.
And again, you don't force Tannehill to make more plays than he has to.
Mhm.
I think Cincinnati, again, they're playing with house money right now. No one expected them to win the division. No one expected them to win a game. And let's hope the officials have a better weekend than they did last week. I mean, oh my Lord, what a Keystone Cops day it was.
Horrific.
For the officials.
Terrible, disgusting. They should have been suspended, and you hear that ref crew will not work any postseason games as they should. They did not do a good job. They should be fired. Let's talk about the other matchup there, Buffalo versus Kansas City. At the first of the year, I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Buffalo Bills, and what Josh Allen showed the other night versus the New England Patriots tells me he could turn it on 5 touchdowns. Can he do the same? Can the defense stop the Kansas City Chiefs and hold Patrick Mahomes, or do Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs get it done versus the Bills?
Peter, the Bills put out the blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs last year. You come hard off the edge, and you make Patrick Mahomes retreat and turn his back to the line of scrimmage. It's what the Bucs did in the Super Bowl. You can't throw it down the field when you're running with your back to the line of scrimmage. The problem was Buffalo didn't have the athletes to run him down once he did that. The Buccaneers do. I really think you're going to see a whole different Buffalo mentality with this, because they know, hey, we can beat these guys. We did it during the regular season, and we did it before Allen was really put his Superman cape on.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter, I put this text out. I said, Buffalo fans have been waiting decades for that ass whipping of the Patriots. And again, I don't think too many teams have ever done that to Bill Belichick. Scored on every possession. Wow. He had more touchdown passes than incomplete passes. That's something.
That's amazing in itself, that offensive efficiency versus, look, a Patriots defense that coming in was one of the top in the league. They didn't show it on Saturday night. Are you surprised that one of your good buddies, Mike Mayock, got fired by the Raiders? Does that say to you, not only is this organization going in the wrong direction by not only firing a Mike Mayock, but also possibly not bringing back a Rich Bisaccia? 25-24, but predominantly those main decisions were on John Gruden. In fact, what you hear is Mayock wanted Devin White, not the kid from Clemson. Your thoughts?
Peter, I am baffled by two things. One, Mike Mayock getting fired. After all that dumpster fire was in Las Vegas with Gruden and then Henry Ruggs, just keeping that team afloat. I think Rich Bisaccia and Mike Mayock deserved at least another year, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, let's get to a worse scenario than that. Culley getting fired in Houston. How do they justify that? You don't have Deshaun Watson the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
You're competitive. Yeah, you didn't win a lot of games, but who expected you to with another rookie quarterback?
Sure.
That's just not going to happen. And again, Culley gets fired, and I don't understand why. He was the scapegoat, and he was the scapegoat from the beginning. So David Culley, I hope he lands somewhere on his feet, but he did a marvelous job keeping that team together while everybody and his brother are going, what if, with their quarterback.
All right, rumor is we'll get you out of here on this. This will be the final question. Nick Casero comes out today and says Deshaun Watson likely won't be on this team. No, really? But there is a rumor that the Texans could be interested in a Brian Flores, and also that Flores wants Deshaun Watson as his quarterback. So do you think they can put that together if the Texans decide to hire a Brian Flores? And there's also another rumor out there that if Flores takes the New York Giant job, that the Giants would trade possibly for Deshaun Watson. What situation is more likely to happen, the Texans or the Giants?
If I'm Flores, I want the Texans.
Okay.
If I can talk Deshaun Watson into staying. And that would be if they offered me the job and I'm Flores, I'm saying, hold it. I'll get back to you in 20 minutes. And I get Deshaun Watson on the phone and says, if I take this job, are you staying? If he said, nope, I'm done, then if I'm Flores, I would, as Snagglepuss said in the cartoons, exit stage right and go to New York. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in Miami, too. And you know what the rumor is down there, and Adam Schnapsazer broke that for us, is that Jim Harbaugh going to Miami. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Well, I mean, it would make sense because look, you fire a coach like Flores who had to start at 1-7, but leads that team to 8-1 with all the rumors and the conundrums going on with quarterbacks and injuries and this and that. And why would you, if you're going to fire Flores, you're going to get a Jim Harbaugh, you're going to get a Vic Fangio. Is that a good move for Harbaugh at that point? Can he get the most out of Tua, who seems like, look, he hasn't really proven anything at this point? Basically, it's you better play better or we're going to draft somebody else. Is it coming down to that for that Dolphins organization? And can Jim Harbaugh get the most out of Tua?
Well, again, Peter, I asked this question of people in the beginning. Name me an Alabama quarterback other than Joe Namath and Ken Stabler that did well in the NFL.
Correct.
And Bart Starr comes to mind. But in the last 25, 30 years, Alabama doesn't produce quarterbacks.
Sure.
I just wondered why everybody was everybody saying, well, it's tank for Tua. And Dave Alexander, our West Coast guy, said, hey, they're barking up the wrong tree. Justin Herbert is the guy. And boy, Justin Herbert has really come out slinging and flinging and winning.
Yeah, and look, there were red flags out there with Tua coming out of Alabama, leg injuries, hip injuries, stuff like that. And I'm not ready to give up on the kid, but I feel like if you're going to get anybody, Jim Harbaugh should be the first guy you call, because not only did he get the most out of Alex Smith when Smith was under him, but also Colin Kaepernick. That he made Kaepernick a household name with his development. So if you truly want to develop a young quarterback, and I keep on going back to Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, to me, it would be a slam dunk. Jim Harbaugh knows that organization. He played quarterback. He's great with quarterback development. You have him being close to Michigan there, so fans will still travel. I mean, to me, that's a slam dunk. But if Miami fired Brian Flores, then you have to feel like Stephen Ross, who's a Michigan alumni, already has a plan to hire Harbaugh. That's got to be a done deal. If it's not, then you basically did it for nothing, because Flores is a great coach, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. What's your upgrade? And again, you're talking about the owner down there being a huge Michigan alum and a huge donor. And again, Harbaugh can leave now. He beat Ohio State. He got to the college football playoffs. And Peter, I just don't know how this is going to play out with all these coaches. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see both coordinators for the Bucs end up somewhere else after the end of the year. Either being the head coach and the other being the top defensive or offensive coordinator, just because it should have happened last year.
Right.
But because of the way the rules were, you couldn't interview these people. But again, a lot of jobs open. Be interesting to see how this plays out in terms of, do you want to go to the Giants? Do you want to go to the Bears? Do you want to go to Miami? Do you want to go to Houston?
Jacksonville. I mean, that's a dumpster fire. And you have Todd Bowles, who's interviewing, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, with the Vikings on Friday, Saturday with the Bears, and then, of course, defensive coordinator. Is that a distraction? And do you feel like Bucs fans should be worried about that distraction with Todd Bowles interviewing for those jobs?
No distraction whatsoever.
Okay.
It's just common practice, and they will interview him probably on the player's day off or something like that. But
right.
I want to see what happens in Jacksonville. I think Byron Leftwich is the perfect fit down there.
I do too. To me, he's a slam dunk also. He's played quarterback for them. He's a hot shot. He's a hot commodity right now with the top 10 offense the last 3 years. Even when
he can look Trevor Lawrence in the eye and say, I did this. And I mean, they're the same size.
Sure.
This is, if I'm Byron Leftwich, I am salivating for that job because I'm going to get Travis Etienne back as a running back. I'm going to have Trevor Lawrence there. I just got to get some pieces around him now.
All right, good stuff, Leo Haggerty. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Well, we just put up our Bulls recap on the men's and women's basketball team. And, Peter, there's a doubleheader Saturday, noon the men, 3 o'clock the women. Why don't you come out and join us for an afternoon of hoops out in South Florida?
Tell you what, sounds good. Do I have to be credentialed, or you just invited me out there like always?
Hey, all you got, I'll put you in touch with who you got to talk to, and they'll have a credential ready for you at the door.
Sounds good, my friend. There you go. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag, and getting me
Show that Rolex, big boy.
There's the Rolex
there
right there, my friend. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on Saturday, okay?
Take care, buddy.
All right, and the video, by the way, is looking good. You're getting this video thing down. It's amazing, by the way.
It's scary, isn't it?
All right, my friend. Thanks a lot for the time. Appreciate you, all right?
Take care.
All right, good stuff there. Leo Haggerty. We're live here on the Sports Web on I Love St. Pete, the Hub Life here, and, of course, YouTube. Like and subscribe. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Your Rolex reporter right there. That is a real Rolex. It's not fake. I swear to God. Okay, we got the background noise. TB12 will pick apart the Rams secondary. They have safety issues. Yes, when you have Eric Weddle, who came off his couch after 2 years of not being in the National Football League, I would say, yeah, that's certainly a possibility. And people will say, well, you don't have, a Chris Godwin. You don't have an Antonio Brown. Can Brady do it? Yes, he can. I'll tell you what, let's go out to this guy. Let's get his walk-up music on. Here we go. Yeah! All right, leading it off here on the Evolution, it's Curtis from Newport Richie. Welcome. What do you have to say? How do you feel? Bucs versus the Rams on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Raymond James. Don't tell me you're going to turn into one of these fans that are in the fetal position at this point.
Actually, I got a couple things to say, but let me go on and start off with my ending first, like the rest of these movies nowadays.
Yes.
The NFC Championship is going to end up in Tampa this year because San Fran is going to beat Green Bay.
Wow. Already putting it out there. Let me fire the cannons for that. Why do you think that's going to happen, Curtis?
Well, number one, San Fran is going to run the damn ball down Green Bay's throat.
Uh-huh.
And there's not going to be a damn thing they can do about it. And I'm going to tell you something. Jimmy G is going to abuse Green Bay's linebackers, can you tell me who the linebackers for Green Bay is? I'll wait.
I cannot. I really don't watch a lot of Green Bay football, but can't really tell you what linebackers are there that scare me at night.
Not only that, who are their defensive tackles?
What?
Thank you. Oh, and one more thing. Who are their starting safeties? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Sorry, I mean, I don't watch a lot of Packer football, but these guys right now are not jumping off the page for me.
George Kittle is going to abuse.
Well, not only him, but Deebo Samuel. And he's not even a wide receiver at this point. They're using him as an upgraded version of Cordero Patterson as a running back / wide receiver.
Same thing I was just about to say.
Okay.
But anyway, that's whatever. That's my San Fran. I predict San Fran to win by 3.
Curtis, hold on a minute. Hold on. Save that thought. I tell you what, Todd, call back. Go ahead, Curtis.
Yep. Do people remember that Green Bay snuck by San Fran this year?
Yes. What is it, 30-28? Hold on a sec. Hold on.
Go ahead, bro.
Hold on a sec. All right, Todd, we're going to put you on hold. We got Curtis on the line. We'll come out to you after we're done with Curtis. All right, stand by.
Yes, sir.
All right, there we go. Curtis, go ahead. Curtis, are you there?
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
If San Fran wouldn't have left 30 seconds on the clock, they wouldn't have won that game.
Correct. It's all about situational football. So, shocker.
Now, let's get to this Rams game.
Okay.
Now, Cooper Kupp. He's a little intimidating, but whatever. I like Jamel Dean on him.
Okay.
I think Jamel Dean or even Edwards could do a great job on him.
Sure.
Now, is Edwards a great player? No, but he is a hell of a player in that nickel.
Well, he's a ball hawk, and he's a guy that can cover a lot of area. You saw that in that right before the halftime with the interception there where Dean falls down, gets beat by Smith, and how much Edwards could cover that area. That's what you see. You see the speed there. You see the potential. We've seen it before from Edwards.
OBJ has never had a big game against Tampa. I think maybe one.
Some years back, yes. I think it was in 17 or 18. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not worried about him either because he can't do anything with Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis, if Carlton Davis shadows him, he's in trouble.
Well, do you go Carlton Davis on Cooper Kupp and Jamel Dean on Odell Beckham or Sean Murphy Bunting maybe back too because he's been injured. So, I mean, you're going to have your full complement at that point.
However it works, it's going to look better than it did in week 3.
Correct. I mean, that's what I keep on saying to Bucs fans. Bucs are like, oh my God, here come the Rams. Oh, it's the sky's falling. Guys, relax. They were missing the majority of their secondary and only lost by 10 points. And there's no Deshaun Jackson in this game. Thank God, because he'd be dropping passes like he did against the Bengals for the Raiders.
Yep. We're going to run the ball. We're going to do whatever it takes to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And what people really don't understand is Vita and Sue are going to make a big difference in this game.
Yeah, because that offensive line is not that good. They're not that good at all. You saw it a couple weeks ago versus the 49ers. And I tell you right now, I would put the Bucs defense up against the San Francisco defensive line. I would.
And I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to leave it at this. And
yeah.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I got a couple other things I want to address.
Sure.
The Bucs are going to beat the Rams.
Yes.
Between 3 and 7. And I got a Bengals fan that just walked in my house. He's over here scuffing. He better be worried about King Henry on
well, he better be because he got some injuries to that defensive line, namely Larry Okunjobi, and you also are missing possibly the guy they got from New Orleans. So they could be in some trouble already.
A couple things. The other things that I want to address is this whole Bruce Arians slapping the guy in the head like that. Let me tell you something.
Yes. Do you have a problem with that? Are you up in arms about that?
Let me address that situation by saying I am a parent that believes in disciplining their children.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. The world appreciates that. We don't have enough discipline in this world, Curtis. Thank you.
I'm not saying that you beat your kids. But when you get, excuse my French, when you get that ass properly, you don't even have to touch your kids. You can just give them a look.
Correct.
And listen, Bruce Arians didn't hit the guy in the helmet to try to knock him out or anything.
Right.
Like people are so
sensitive
about things that they see. Like, grow the hell up.
Just be offended about everything. Everything offends you.
Exactly. Everything. Well, the world we live in now is, I call it the sensitive world.
Oh yeah.
Everything is sensitive now.
Sure.
But I mean, Dude, this, like I said the other day, people don't understand. If I'm worried about anything, it's the health of Worst and it's the health of Jennings.
Sure.
But I'm gonna tell you something. Those two guys, as long as their legs aren't broken, they're gonna be out there.
Of course they are.
They're gonna do whatever it takes. Excuse me, to be out there on Sunday.
Sure. And Jensen played through that injury, and they have a backup plan. Look, if Wirfs doesn't play or he's not 100%, you can always put Kappa at right tackle. I know a lot of people don't like that, but Kappa played tackle in college, all right? And then you put Aaron Stinney at right guard, who, by the way, was a substitution for Kappa last year when he got hurt.
And Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Say hello to Mr. Evans, please.
Yes, please.
Say hello to Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. And tell me again, who's the linebackers for the Los Angeles Rams?
Well, I mean, you got Von Miller. I guess he would be considered one.
He's a pass rusher. Have you seen Von Miller in coverage?
No, I haven't seen him in coverage. I don't think they have a lot of good linebackers, and I think that's where the Bucs, either it's Gronkowski or one of those wide receivers we keep on talking about, hopefully will step up. Tyler Johnson, Brashard Perryman, guys like that, even a Scotty Miller at that point.
I tell you what, watch for John Brown this week.
Love to see it. I don't know why he wasn't signed in the first place.
That guy knows this offense.
Yep.
He played in this offense for 3 years in Arizona.
Correct.
And I'm going to tell you something. I was going back and I looked at some old John Brown footage the other day. If that guy gets in the slot, he is so dangerous.
He is dangerous, and I think he's going to be a big-time pickup. He didn't see any action yet, but we'll see what happens. I think he's definitely going to be an asset with his speed and him knowing that BA offense. Absolutely.
I just want to say this to this Bengals fan, but while I'm on this thing,
sure.
I hope Joe Burrow breaks his clavicle this weekend.
Wow.
You're over there running your mouth. Anyway, back to my Bucs fan.
Yes.
Listen, don't be worried, because guess what? I'm gonna just say this: if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. I mean, of course, nobody wants to lose, but we've had another good season.
That's it. I mean, and with all the injuries you've had, and look, I'm not going to make excuses because the National Football League is not for long. Everybody has injuries, but let's be realistic here. If you do lose to the Rams and the Rams go on to win the Super Bowl, yeah, it kind of hurts because it's the Rams, but they were the better team. And, like a former wrestler would used to say, I don't know, woo! In order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And if the Rams are the man, or the Rams in fans' mind is the man, then you got to beat them. And the Bucs, to me, right now, are the man. So we'll see what happens on Sunday at 3.
I have nothing against Matt Stafford.
Right.
But he's not a clutch quarterback.
No, he's not. His first win in 13 years, and everybody's freaking out. Everybody's just freaking out at this point. Relax, guys. The Bucs got a defense.
Yep.
So
I mean, listen, Sunday's not here yet.
Yep.
So we still got to worry. Somebody could get COVID between now and then.
Well, don't wish that on anybody, Curtis.
No. And I don't wish that on anybody. But,
right.
Guess what happens if somebody gets COVID?
Well, you mean Odell Beckham going out to, well, by the way, the last time he played in the playoff game, he went out with boat dopes with all the Giants there before the Packer game and did absolutely nothing. So, yeah, it's certainly a possible, I mean,
he was to the lonely island. I'm on a boat before he did that.
Right. There you go. You could go out to, one of these strip clubs around here, Mons Venus or 2001. Not that I know those places. I'm just saying he could, and he could get COVID. Hopefully nobody gets COVID at this point. I'm tired of hearing it. We got to run here. Let me go ahead and give you the Byron.
How about them Bucs, baby?
And I'll give you the fire the cannons right there. Curtis, use that second call if you want to, my friend. Thanks a lot for calling the Evolution. All right.
One last thing, brother.
Yes.
If we lose Byron Leftwich, I'm going to cry. But I wish the best for the man. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Good stuff, Curtis, as always. Let me go out here. Like I said, use that second call if you want to. Appreciate you. Let's go out to Todd. Todd, welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Bucs versus the Rams, 3:00 on Sunday. How you feeling? Todd, are you there?
On time, my man. How are you?
I'm doing great, buddy. How you doing?
Really good, man. Listen, first of all, I want to tell Curtis, what a great call. That was one of the best calls I've heard on this show in a long time.
Curtis is always bringing it. He always brings it. I love it.
Always. And I do have to say he took a lot of my content, and I thank him for that because I won't have to talk as long. So I do agree with Curtis that we are going to see San Fran at home. I do believe we're going to beat the Rams. Here's my thought. I love Sean. I think he's a great coach. He seems like a great guy. But I would take Bruce Arians and Leftwich and Bowles over McVay and his OC and DC any day of the week. Any day of the week. I feel like we have the smartest coaching staff in the NFL. I look for people like Miller and Perriman and Grace.
Todd, can you do me a favor? I don't know what's going on with your phone. It sounds like Max Headroom in the back. Is there any way you can go somewhere where you get that signal better? I hate to say that because
is this any better? Is this any better?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, man. Okay, well, what I was saying was I trust Arians and our staff, Leftwich and Bowles,
right?
Again, Sean McVay and his staff any day of the week. I feel like we have the smartest coaching staff in the NFL.
Right.
I agree with Curtis that we're going to see San Fran at home for the game. And I look for this Sunday, a big win over the Rams. You're going to see people like Miller, Perriman, and Grayson be a huge part of the offense. And I think special teams is going to be a massive part of this game.
Well, and I agree with you on that. And they were a massive part of this game versus the Eagles. And we even heard from Dallas Goedert, according to Pewter Report's John Ledger. He got the interview and he said that crowd was so loud that they were having problems with communication. That's exactly what Bucs fans need to do. Please, Bucs fans, if you're not going to go to the game, do not sell the tickets to Rams fan. Do not do it. It's almost like selling it to a Saints fan. Honestly. I mean, and you're a Bucs fan. You know the history of the LA Rams, the St. Louis Rams from 79 to 99, the NFC Championship games, where you get screwed by the Burt Emanuel supposed catch where the NFL changes the rule. You lose 9-0 at the old Tampa Bay Stadium where Doug Williams goes down and Leroy Selman goes down. I mean, we've seen it. We've heard it before with the Rams. Don't sell your tickets to Rams fans. Okay, that's my PSA. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, I think that the folks that are worried about the Rams, looking at the fact the Rams are playing exceptionally well, no crap. It's the playoffs. If you're at this point at the stage of the game that they're in, if they're not playing this way, they shouldn't even be in the conversation. And I love what you said earlier, Peter, about if you want to be the best, you have to play the best. Tom Brady's not afraid to play the Rams. You think he's shaking in his boots tonight as he goes to sleep?
No, it's a revenge game. He listens and then he gets driven. You like that, guys? Write that down. Your Rolex reporter said it. Listen and get driven. That's exactly what Tom Brady and that team is doing tonight. They're going to keep on doing it until Sunday at 3:00. That's how he works. That's why he's a 7-time Super Bowl champion, possibly an 8-time Super Bowl champion, because he has that competitive fire. Because in the back of his mind, he remembers that loss to the Rams 34-24. And he doesn't forget it. And the team hopefully doesn't forget it. And if you come out flat, you only have one person or the individuals to blame for yourself. You, looking in the mirror, come out and remember that ass beating you got from the Rams 34-24.
Peter, I trust our staff and our players above Rams staff and their players, and I'm going to leave it at that. Bucs win on Sunday. Let's go. Free life.
All right, my friend. Let me go ahead and give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let me fire those cannons. Todd, I appreciate the call. Definitely don't be a stranger here on the Evolution, all right? Good stuff there. Let me read these comments as I've been neglecting you guys, but love when we get guest on, excuse me. Love when we have Leo Haggerty on. Love when we have phone calls. I try to devote as much time to them as possible. And what you're watching right now is the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Oh, looky here. What the cat dragged in. Let's go ahead and get his walk-up music. Here we go. All right, Mr. Sean, the Sports Don, welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. My co-host from a radio station in a galaxy far, far away. Your thoughts, Bucs versus the Rams on Sunday, 3:00. Go.
Oh man, what's going on with the Spider? This game right here, man. Like the Bucks got to bring their A game. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Agree.
This is obviously we wanted. If you're a Buck fan, you probably wanted to see the Cardinals because these Rams have had your lunch.
Yes.
You know, more times than not the last few years.
Yep.
I mean, it's just the truth of the matter. And the Bucks gonna have to play at a level in order to win this game. You got the injuries, you know, and those things are going to be a factor. But we're gonna have to play at a high level in order to win this game. This is not an easy win, and it's going to be very, 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 very critical for the defense to step up and play at a level that we haven't seen since the days of Warren Sapp.
I agree. And I think it goes back to defense last year, how they played against top quarterbacks like a Drew Brees, of course, an Aaron Rodgers and a Patrick Mahomes. You got to get pressure. You got to especially get pressure on a Stafford because I think you can force him. The last couple of months here, you've seen Matt Stafford revert back to Detroit Lion Matt Stafford, which means he'll give you a couple turnovers, and that's exactly what you want because those critical turnovers can change the complexion of the game, and that starts up front with a Shaq Barrett, with a JPP, with a Sue, and of course, a Vita Vea, and even a Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and you know that Todd Bowles will have something cooked up, just like he did against the Eagles. Antoine Winfield blitzing, Jamel Dean blitzing. They are blitzing all over the place. And then, of course, having Levante David and Devin White there, you just never know. But you got to get creative. And at the end of the day, it's football 101. You got to get pressure on Matt Stafford, period.
Well, you know, it's good that you brought up Matt Stafford. I've been hearing a lot of Buck fans recently talking about Matt Stafford and saying how, you know, when Detroit, this is his first playoff win. I'm trying to tell every Buck fan, throw that out the window. I mean, because when you play with Detroit and you are the only thing that they have, and he has to be a gunslinger and be reckless with the ball sometimes. You know, quarterbacks is the only position that we say, well, you don't win. We only keep records of quarterbacks. We don't do that for wide receivers. We don't do that for defensive linemen that are good or great. We don't do it for running backs. And to say because he's only won his first playoff game, we are like, that's the only reason why he hasn't won a playoff game. Matthew Stafford is in a whole nother team where that team has been built to win a Super Bowl because they have stars all over the field, defensively and offensively. So Matt Stafford, all he has to do is come in there and show his talent. And his talent says, I can put the ball anywhere I want to on the field. So we can't say because he's thrown interceptions when he was with Detroit, that's going to be the same thing that happens when he plays with the Rams. When the Rams
he's thrown interceptions with the Rams this year. I mean, he's played some bad games.
You're 100% correct about that, but that team still won, 12 games this year.
Sure.
So they're very good. And then what did you see last night? Well, you saw a team that once they got up, we didn't ask them to throw a lot. We said, we're going to just run the ball. We're going to play great defense, and we're going to still win this game by 30 points.
Correct.
So the Bucks are going to have to, because see, what's going to have to happen, and if you look at it, with Tom Brady, just say the last two games that we played against the Rams, he has not looked good from an offensive standpoint. Even when we had Chris Godwin, even when we had Antonio Brown, he has been a little bit confused based on what he could do to us defensively in terms of what we do offensively. And so we've lost both of those games, and we haven't looked good offensively. So if they could continue to do that to us with the lack of injury or with the injuries we have, this could be a total different, this could be a bad matchup for us, which we all thought coming into it that this is the worst matchup we could possibly get. We have to understand that Matthew Stafford is not the end-all, be-all whether or not we can win. It's a team game, guys, and the Rams have a lot, and they've invested a lot to win, and that's why they have so many great players, both offensively and defensively. That's why they've gotten rid of all their draft picks to bring in all these stars in the NFL to win now. And so they're primed to win now, and Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback to win now based on the talent he has around him.
We're on with Sean, the Sports Don, former co-host of this radio show in a galaxy far, far away here on the Evolution, the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Odell Beckham, you like to talk about him. Highly talented player, has really turned this offense around. And to me, he's a concern. But then again, you know, we talk about Stafford throwing for 4 touchdowns in the first matchup there, over 300 yards. The majority of your secondary you didn't have. You have it now. You have Carlton Davis. You have Jamel Dean. Most likely you'll have Sean Murphy-Bunting and your guy there, Mike Edwards and Antoine Winfield, and, of course, Whitehead knocking somebody's block off. So how do you feel about this back end versus a Cooper Kupp and, of course, an Odell Beckham?
Well, I definitely have to go back and look at what happened in week 3, because that was week 3. I don't remember. I don't think we were so decimated in week 3. I know Sean Murphy-Bunting was there in week 3, but I don't remember Jamel Dean. I don't remember Carlton Davis. I don't remember our safeties being down in week 3 when we lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Again, now as the season went on, week 3, week 4, week 5. That's why we brought in
Shawnee, stand by.
Stand
by, Sean. Let me put you on hold really quick. Jim, we got Sean on the line. Stand by. We're going back to Sean. Jim, hold the line. Sean, go ahead. Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, we brought in Richard Sherman a little later in the season because we started getting a lot decimated by injuries. Week 3 when we lost to them, I think it was week 3 when we lost to them. I don't remember us being that far from a secondary standpoint out of whack. You know, obviously, hopefully Sean Murphy-Bunting can play next week and we can have everything there. So Todd Bowles can go ahead and unleash everything, and that's going to be key. Because here's going to be the key, guys. It's not going to be so much what we can do offensively. It's going to be whether or not we can keep Cooper Kupp, whether or not we can keep Odell Beckham from going off on us. And those running backs, Shoney Michelle, we got the running back as well.
Cam Akers out of Florida State. I think you got to make the Rams one-dimensional. That's what you got to do. You got to stop the running game and put them in situations where it's not manageable. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. Pin your ears back. Get after a Matt Stafford. If you don't do that, they have the running game. They are balanced. They become that much more dangerous where they can go down the field with an OBJ and a Cooper Kupp and, of course, a Tyler Higbee.
And you got a coach over there that he's very smart at what he does.
Correct. Very creative.
He said, I'm not gonna go out there and we're winning the game because they can't do anything against us defensively. So we're not gonna go and try to just open up this game plan and let Matthew Stafford throw 50 times. So he's smart enough to do that. So this game is going to be won on how our defense plays. Let's just make no mistake about it.
Correct.
It's going to be won defensively. And if defensively we can keep the Rams from exploding on us, keep Cooper Kupp in check, and I don't know if we have a good matchup with him. You know who I would really put on Cooper Kupp? I would really put Mike Edwards on Cooper Kupp in that slot because he's a guy that's very shifty, and I think he's a guy who when the ball touches his hand, I don't know if Jamel Dean or Sean Murphy-Bunting can really guard Cooper Kupp in the slot. I think Mike Edwards, that may be his. I would try to see how Mike Edwards do against Cooper Kupp, because if we can do that, if we can kind of minimize Cooper Kupp's impact, I think we have a good chance. And I think Edwards is the guy because I think he's the guy who really is a guy who can minimize that. I really do believe that, because I don't think those other guys, they're a little taller. They cannot stay with that little young shifty guy. And Cooper Kupp, I'll probably put Mike Edwards on him, and let's see how that works.
What else, Shawnee?
Well, I mean, it's just everything, man. I mean, it's great football. It's great football that we got going on this weekend. One of the best games I'm thinking about looking at is that Chiefs and
Bills
Buffalo
game. Yep, beat them 38-20 early on in the year. So I think, and I picked this at the beginning of the year, I thought the Bills were going to face the Bucs in Super Bowl 56, and I'm still going on that because Josh Allen, I get it, played a very good defense in the New England Patriots, 5 touchdowns. Kansas City has been playing better, but I think the key stat or the key matchup that you guys got to watch is that Buffalo defense getting after Patrick Mahomes, causing that pressure. That's why I think it's imperative for Kansas City to try to run the ball, because I think Buffalo can get after Patrick Mahomes, and they can do that. Maybe they can get some turnovers off of him. What do you say?
Man, I think that's going to be the most beautiful matchup, I think, of this division.
Gotta love it, right? 6:30.
I think that one is going to be so beautiful. I think the Packers, going to have their hands full. Now it depends on whether or not Bosa is going to be healthy. He has to get healthy. If he's healthy, then I can see how the 49ers could possibly win that game, where the Bucs could possibly have the conference championship in Raymond James Stadium. Obviously, that's what we all want, but we got to take care of our business first. If we don't take care of our business, it doesn't matter. But I do believe that team can be a team that can go in there and beat the Packers, because they can run the ball. The Packers' run defense is not that good, and they can hide Garoppolo a little bit. Not that he needs to be hitting, but he doesn't have to go out there again and throw the ball 50 times. And if you can get in that, you're in that cold weather, I think they have a good chance of beating them. So this is one that the NFL could have asked for a better round than what they have right now in terms of the matchups. The matchups that they have right now, again, we talk about the Titans playing against Cincinnati, and I'm going to tell you again that boy, Jamar Chase, is a monster, and you put him up there with Joe Burrow.
He is, but still, that offensive line gave up 51 sacks this year. So, yes, I was a little bit wrong. Yes.
They gave up 51 sacks, but when you are here in this situation and you're saying for the next 10 years, that's the combination you have. Also with some of those young other wide receivers that they have, like, you are in a position right now that, like I said, you can pick some offensive linemen. They can get Alex Kappa right now to help them next year and give him big time money to build that up. But what you've done now, you've made Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice possibly moving forward in terms of how well they get to play together for the next 10 years, or Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. You've given that guy that type of thing that we're in. They can just look at each other and know what's going to happen before the snap of the ball. And that's key. That's huge. And I'm interested to see how they play. I don't think the NFL could ask for a better division around. Every game, you need to get your popcorn, like Terrell Orange would say, Get your popcorn ready, because this is going to be some good football that's going to be played, and every game I think is going to be close this year. If obviously there could be some blowouts, and we can say, oh, I didn't see that coming. But when you just look at it on paper, these are going to be some close games that's being played right now, and you better bring your hard hat, bring your lunch pail, because this is not going to be an easy win.
Good stuff, Sean, the sports son. I thought he was going to say, bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. Usually he brings the nonsense with a great call, as always, my friend.
You know I've never brought any nonsense to the show, brother.
Yeah.
You know I never have.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised you gave me so many softballs today. These are some softball questions.
Well, I'll ask you this before we get Mark Mancini on Mancini Media and XM Sirius Radio. We're going to talk some NFL playoffs and, of course, maybe a little bit of wrestling, which I know you're cringe at, but he's a former XPW announcer, so we'll get him on the sports web here live on I Love St. Pete in the Hub. What did you think about BA's actions? I mean, a lot of people are making a stink out of it. Him, elbowing Andrew Adams and hitting him in the helmet. I mean, did you have a problem with that? Do you feel like anybody should have a problem with it? And do you think eventually maybe BA gets, fined from the NFL Players Association? Or once again, is it much to do about nothing?
Well, first of all, if BA gets fined, then Aaron Donald needs to get suspended.
Well, he needs to be suspended anyway. I mean, we haven't even talked about that. He should be suspended already.
Well, for the NFL, I would suspend Aaron Donald because you want Aaron Donald on the field for the viewership. I get it because you're a Buck fan. But I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying the best situation at that point. Look, it's the rules. Rules are the rules. If you're trying to go after somebody and basically go all what? I don't know what that former baseball player's name was. He tried to dig his nails, and it looked like, Aaron Donald was trying to do the same thing with his nails, trying to dig into the guy's face.
hey, whether it's football, basketball, whatever, we've seen players get suspended for throwing punches. I get that, but I'm just saying it's the playoff. Now, going back to Mr. Arians, listen, I'm not mad at Arians. Listen, I would have knocked him upside the head, just like the Bucs knocked Carlton Davis upside the head for when he took his helmet off. You saw about 3 or 4 defensive coaches go to Carlton Davis and like ream him.
Yep.
Like, you cannot make stupid decisions or mistakes like that in the playoffs and expect to win.
Correct.
You can get away with that when you play against the Eagles, who really don't have a shot at beating you. But when you play the Rams, you cannot take those type of penalties. And for Arians to come out there and drop kick him, I would have drop kicked him too. I would have put him in the chokehold too. I would have done everything I could have done to keep that dude from getting the penalty, because you cannot take those type of penalties. Let's think about if you're down. Think about if you're down and you need that field position, but a ref throw the flag, and now instead of starting at the 45, you're starting at your 20 because you get that is huge. And so you can't do that. And he sent the message to everybody else. If you do that, I'm gonna drop kick you. I'm a wax on, wax off. Like I'm Daniel's son from the Karate Kid, and I'm gonna give you the business. He's supposed to give him the business. And anybody that's crying about that, shut up.
Hey, I got it for him. Who's ever crying about it? Here you go.
Shut up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Adams is not mad about that. I think the whole team understands we got to have a level of focus that we need to have, and we cannot allow that to be the reason why we lose a game.
All right, good stuff, Sean. Let me go ahead and give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucks, baby?
And let me give you a Ric Flair.
Woo!
And let me go ahead and fire those cannons. Appreciate you, as always. Use that second call, my man, all right?
Yeah, how long are you on for the night?
As long as you guys keep on calling me and talking Bucs football and NFL, I'll be on. How about that?
All right, brother. I'll talk at you later, man. You have a good show, baby.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you. One of the forefathers of the sports web right there. One of the creators, co-host, Mr. Sean, the Sports Don. Let's go out to Jim. Thanks a lot for waiting. Welcome to the Evolution. We're awaiting Mr. Mark Mancini on Mancini Media. Go for it, my friend.
Well, win, no matter what. Hey, this thing gonna be coming up to the coaching.
Yeah.
So who you think has better coach between the Rams and the Buccaneers? Because I don't hear nobody getting no calls. The Rams trying to get their coaches.
Well, I mean, look, they have Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator, and look, I don't think he's necessarily done the best job. I mean, he's been somewhat creative, if you will. But yeah, he's got a lot more talent. This Rams defense hasn't played that well all year long. So, and again, Brady did throw for over 300 yards versus that Rams defense in the first matchup. I get it. They were down 21-7 and they had to throw the ball, but he still did that. So it's not like this offense necessarily is going to struggle. It's not like the Rams are the 85 Bear defense. They're not. So let's just get that out of there. And let's just stop saying the sky is going to fall, because the sky isn't falling at that point. You got postseason Tom Brady, and you got a team that's very veteran savvy with a great coaching staff.
Yeah, since you went there, who got the better defense? Come on now, we live off our defense.
Well, you live off your defense, but I'm not saying the Rams don't have a defense. I mean, they have defensive talent all over the place. Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. You've got Von Miller, of course. You got Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd. So, this is the kind of matchup you want at the end of the day. If you're a Bucs fan, you want the best of the best. I get it. People were saying Arizona, but Arizona had no chance. And if Arizona faces the Bucs, I feel really good that the Bucs would blow their doors off too.
All I'm saying is we ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? We win no matter what.
Win no matter what. What do you think the biggest key, Jim, what do you think the biggest key to this game is? Is it defense, or what is it to beat the Rams on Sunday?
Defense, coaching, planning on both sides of the ball.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? First half, second half, coaching, planning. Smarter team wins.
Smarter team wins. So no penalties. There you go.
Yep, no penalties. You know what I'm saying? Good special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Good kicking. Good, run backs. No fumbles. Whoever keeps the ball in their hand, whoever scores, whoever plays a tougher defense. And I'm going with the defense because I'm a defensive guy. So whoever,
Well, the guy who
Brady.
just called, who was just on Sean the Sports Don, that's his term that he uses. That's his term of endearment. He always says he's a defensive guy. You're a defensive guy. So we got two guys here, defensive guys, and I think you have to be a defensive guy when it comes to the postseason at the end of the day. If you can get after the quarterback, if you can cause turnovers, if you can run the ball, doesn't matter what you do with passing the ball, just don't turn it over. You can win some games. What else, Jim?
Whose quarterback's going to be seeing ghosts first? Is it going to be ours or is it going to be theirs?
Well, it's a good point. I mean, it depends on if Tristan Wirfs and if Ryan Jensen plays. But even if they don't play, you have to feel like, once again, the experience nod goes to Tom Brady because he's seen it and been there before.
Yeah, man. Tom Brady, man. I got faith in him. Keep his head up.
All right. Good stuff, Jim. Appreciate the call. Let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucks, baby?
And let me fire those cannons. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks a lot for the call, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right, there you go, Jim. So open phone line. We're still waiting for Mark Mancini. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's some tech issues. But if there is tech issues, the show must go on. That's how it goes here. And I want to get on I Love St. Pete because I've seen some comments that I didn't hit for some reason. StreamYard is having some tech issues. Again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Florentina says facts. Let's go. Sitton says go Bucks. Jodell Ryan says sports web rocks and the closed captioning, if I can talk tonight, which I can't. It's such a horrible day in sales. So I'm glad that we're here together, printing out Bucks, not BUCS. And Cole says $79.99. I hate the Rams. I do too. I absolutely hate the Rams. Okay, so let's go back out to the comments. We'll read them until Mark Mancini comes in here, and then we'll maybe take a commercial break, see if we can get him on. If we can't, then it's just you and me. And I know Harry the Greek called in. We expected him to call in back if you want to. We'll talk some lines here. In fact, all home teams, all favorites. Well, she's calling, and we're going to take the call. We're going to see if she really planned to call the Sports Web. Well, she hung up, so guess she didn't. That would be Mom. That's who's calling in. All right, let's see here. Jensen is one top player. Roger Shoes, Sports Hub. I like it, but it is the Hub. Hub Live, 25,000. Following I Love St. Pete, 90,000. Following Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. Harry has the Rams winning. Bucks have no chance. Harry's been wrong before. He has. All right, let's go out to Mr. Curtis. Let's get his walk-up music on. Here we go. Yeah! All right, Curtis, using your second call. Go for it, my friend. You're on the Evolution.
Right. So listen, I hate the Rams too. Okay.
Okay.
I really
hate the Rams. Do you hate the Rams, Curtis? Let me ask you this: do you hate the Rams as much as you hate the New Orleans Saints?
I hate the Saints, but I still don't hate anybody more than I hate Dallas.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
I want to touch back on that. I'll go back to that Dallas thing in a minute. But here's the thing. What I hate about the Rams is we just hate them. But I love the rivalry because, over the years we had rivalries with during our previous Super Bowl run, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we had a rivalry with them. And then, both teams kind of were like in the dumps.
Mm-hmm.
And now that both teams are kind of like back on tops again, it's good to see the rivalry renewed. And have they gotten the best of us lately? Yes. But Buck fans, y'all know that teams only get the best of us for so long. Listen, the Philadelphia Eagles used to beat the mess out of the Bucks. And I used to be so depressed going to Philly or Philly coming here until we finally beat them in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's about getting over the hump. And why not exercise that curse with the Rams?
Absolutely. Well, listen, they're a good team. I take nothing from them. And, they basically, they kind of did what the Bucks did. They have all this star power, but here's the thing. You can have all the star power in the world, but you have to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because star power means nothing if you don't win. because everybody knows nobody remembers who's second. And everybody is a Patrick Mahomes fan or whatever it is. But guess what? Patrick Mahomes lost the Super Bowl last year.
That's it. Running 497 yards backwards. I agree with you. Yes.
Exactly. But I mean, listen, don't be afraid of this Rams team. We have a good team. And I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody knows Brady is like a computer.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to figure out their weakness. He's going to dial something up, and once he exposes that defense, the game is going to be over with.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's saying it correctly. He has to be protected. Yeah, he has to be protected. But man, let me tell you something. When you get the ball out in under 3 seconds, it's hard to defend that.
Yep. Your receivers got to do a better job. Tyler Johnson's got to do a better job consistently catching the ball, not stopping on routes, which we saw, and Troy Aikman pointed out during the game.
And listen, Gio Bernard, he made some great catches last week. He made some great catches last week. And guess what? Having Fournette back and having Gronk out there and having Evans out there, sure-handed guys, when you throw them the ball, that makes a big difference.
Absolutely does. It absolutely does. All right, what else, Curtis? With the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, the Cowboys thing.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody knows I hate the Cowboys, but let me tell you something. I mean, things happen in NFL games, and, we feel like the referees control it and stuff like that. I don't really think the refs were to blame for this situation. I mean, look, let me tell you something. Teams throw Hail Marys all the time. Dak Prescott, he didn't have to scramble for all those yards. He could have threw the ball. He could have threw the ball away.
Sure, he could have.
I mean, it's Dallas shoots themselves in the foot every year. They had a great season, but don't act like, they didn't destroy the teams that weren't any good. And when they played teams that were good, they could do nothing.
Correct. I mean, 14 penalties don't help. Mental mistakes don't help. Turning the ball over doesn't help. That situation, those situations, that situational football comes back to haunt you, and it did on Sunday with the Cowboys, and it always does.
And here's the thing. Now you guys see, this is the question you ask yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dak Prescott really worth $40 million?
Not in my opinion. I mean, I get it. It's a market value thing with Dak, but for me,
you think Aaron Rodgers would have messed up that? You think Aaron Rodgers would have made that decision? Aaron Rodgers would have threw the ball down and played for another down.
Of course he would have.
Okay, Russell Wilson would have threw the ball away, played for another down. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, all these guys would have threw the ball away to play for another down.
Correct.
Because anything could happen on any play in the NFL.
Yep. You're exactly right.
And we've seen it. We've seen it since the dawn of time. What's the Franco Harris catch? What's the name of that catch?
Immaculate reception, right?
Immaculate reception. Come on. Does anybody expect for that to happen? No. Did anybody expect David Tyree to catch the ball on his helmet?
No.
And one of the supposedly greatest Super Bowl catches ever seen?
Right.
Like, no. But anything can happen on any down, any Sunday, Saturday, whatever in the NFL.
Correct. And
it's just like, Dallas lost that game before the fourth quarter got here.
Yep.
They did. They made mental errors. They had mental mistakes. I mean, they're not the only team. I mean, the Bucs have done that. Look, I mean, just go back to our Bears game last year. Tom Brady thought it was fourth down. It was the Bears' ball.
Correct.
I mean, mental mistakes happen in games all the time. These guys, sometimes we forget that these people are human just because they're great athletes. They're still human beings.
Yeah.
They make mental mistakes. We all have issues, but it's just when some of your issues are public, it becomes bigger than it really is. But no, I don't know. I had San Fran to win that game, but it wasn't. All the games were good this week except for the Cardinals game and the Patriots game. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just the referees. The guy in his defense, I don't think I could have ran 20 yards that fast to get
No.
down there for them to snap the damn ball.
Right.
So, like, you know what I'm saying? Leave these guys alone.
Did they need to be in better shape? Yeah, probably. Did they need to be full-time? Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. If you don't hand the ball to the official and you're handing it to your center instead, you have nobody to blame but yourself, Dak Prescott.
Well, even Dak said it. You know, that's the one part of the interview that people forgot. You know, if he wouldn't have tried to scramble for those extra yards, there would have been more time for another play.
Correct. You're exactly right. Absolutely right. Good stuff, Curtis, as always, on point. Let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Thanks a lot for the call, man. We appreciate you, all right?
All right, brother.
All right, there you go. Curtis using his second call for the night. Open phone line. We're having some problems with Mr. Mancini. If you want to call in, Mark, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Roger Shue, our moderator here. AB was right. BA forcing players to play. No, he's not. Fake news. Chris Cole says that the 49ers win Saturday night. We better not look ahead to the next game and come out flat. Agree. Because that's the advantage, right? You have to a certain point. The Packers and the 49ers play on Saturday night. And of course, if the 49ers win, you take care of your business. NFC Championship game at Raymond James Stadium. Book it. Rob says, Jensen is one tough player. Once again, Sports Hub. Okay, we read these comments already. Let's see. Rob says the Rams left tackle is playing hurt. You're absolutely right. Harry said, put all your chips on the Rams, baby. I don't think he said that at all. Michael said special teams likely factors and huge for both teams. All three phases of the game. Football 101. Offense, defense, special teams. You got to get everything correct. We saw that happen last Sunday. Boy, Scotty Miller, huh? Heck of a tackler. Terrible catching effort there by Jalen Rieger to fumble the ball. Terrible effort. What does that do? Gives your offense a short field. Then you're in business. Mike Evans touchdown. Easy. So all three phases of the game. Let's go out to Michael again. Miller, Perryman, and Grayson gonna be active. We'll see about Grayson. Still with the hamstring injury. Nothing official, but we'll keep you abreast of the situation. Chris Cole says Bulls will have a plan, I hope. Michael says no huddle 2. I love the fast pace. The urgency of this offense against the Eagles was great. And you hope that they can do that again. You know why? Because you wear out the Rams defense. And it's most likely not going to be hot there on Sunday. It'll probably be cool. But you know, you don't let them substitute. That's the game plan. That's what you do. So I would expect them to maybe incorporate that against the Rams on Sunday. We'll see. But I like that game plan. Not even the Detroit Lions want Leftwich. Lies. Rolex reporter. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll fire the cannons for that. Roger Shue says Bulls plans to go to Chicago. We shall see. BC, Roger Shue again. Old school coach, snowflake players. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC. Where's Big Mike? He's not here. Roger Shue says, hate it, but Pack win the Super Bowl. Okay, well, I don't agree with you, but I guess it's possible. Bears are loving Flores, according to the media. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend SC, Leftwich. Troy Polamalu again. Leo with the 4K camera. Very nice, right? Super chats are open. Support your host. Absolutely. Super chats on YouTube. Get some money in there. Get some donations going. If you like the content, if you don't, go Crickets. And if you don't like donating, then you don't have to stay on here at all. Let's go out to Mr. Mark Mancini, Mancini Media. Also, former XPW announcer. Welcome to the Evolution. We were having some video trouble tonight, but we got you on the phone line. What do you have to say, my friend? And what do you think about this matchup coming up? You're out in LA. The LA Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James on Sunday at 3:00. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, this is the show that's sweeping the country. I am so blessed to be a part of it, man. You throwing me a vine out here. And I will tell you this. Tampa's going to stop the Rams. I think the Rams took advantage of a depleted Cardinal team that doesn't even know how to throw a ball or complete a task at SoFi. They were just a disheveled group last night, getting pounded in all aspects of the game. but they cannot beat Brady. Brady beat him in the Super Bowl. Brady will continue this. He knows what's at stake. He's a driven dude. They will destroy the Rams come Sunday. And I know you're going to be out there seeing it firsthand, my brother.
Well, yeah, we're going to be definitely out here. I mean, we're going to be covering the game. We'll probably have a post-game show, nothing official for pre or half. Not going out to a bar unless we get the right place. That's neither here nor there, but we'll be here on the Sports Web to cover it afterwards. What's the atmosphere like out there, Mark, in LA? Are people excited about the Rams and the possibility of them being the second team to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium?
Well, the Rams haven't won anything in 70 years. You'd have to go back to, I believe it's 1951 to see what they've won out here as far as an LA team. They won one in St. Louis. They've come up short. I call it a bridesmaid city, to say the least. They always seem to come up short. They always have a slogan, "We're all in." And they always say they got a quarterback that's going to lead them to the promised land. Well, finally, Stafford gets a playoff win after probably going 0 for 7. I don't know if it's enough. I don't think it's enough, but the atmosphere is they're feeling giddy. I think they're built like the Dodgers. They're content and winning division flags out here. They're not that championship caliber team. You can't just put guys together and bring guys in during the season and mix and match them and expect to win a title. I know the Lakers have been consistent with what they need to do to win titles.
Right.
But when you look at the Rams, when you look at the Dodgers, I don't think they have it.
Well, lots of investment there. You give up a couple first-round picks for a Matt Stafford. You're set up. You go also out and get a Von Miller. You get OBJ. So they have the opportunity. But for me, the thing is, I think the Bucs can match up defensively. And, of course, you've got Tom Brady, who's postseason Tom Brady. Give me your thoughts on this whole playoff picture. First and foremost, did you like the playoffs last week with all the matchups, including the number 7 seeds? Because to me, I get the NFL is trying to make more money for the league in general, but really it kind of watered down the product, right?
Well, when you look at the Raiders-Cincinnati game, the Raiders were ripped off. The referees ruined that one. I had the Raiders winning that game. I thought, with the 4-game winning streak, the Raiders coming in there, I thought they had the team to go into Cincinnati and beat them, but the Bengals erased the ghost of, not winning anything since 91. Congratulations to Burrow and Chase and the guys over there. And losing that one, the nightcap game, boy, I thought Buffalo and New England would be close, but Buffalo just steamrolled them. 7 straight drives. Josh Allen, man, I'll tell you, if you're going to go cross-country, you don't need to pay for an airfare. Just hang on that dude's football, man. He's got an arm like John Elway had. I like this guy a lot. They destroyed the Patriots. And then when you looked at Sunday, we kind of figured Tampa was going to beat Philly. Philly's ground game and running game was good, but it didn't rain enough to really, compliment them. And Jalen Hurts even having that confidence and the offensive line, having the ability to do things what they did. I just thought they were going to come up short with Tampa. San Francisco, Dallas. Dallas was 6-0 against backups. I thought the Niners were coming in hot. They were going to beat them. And sure enough, but boy, what happened at the end of that game was extraordinary. Fans throwing trash at the referees, their own team. I mean, that's derogatory in more ways than one. And then I had the Steelers sitting pretty all over the XM series. I was feeling giddy, pissing off all the Kansas City groups. I had 7-1 odds, taking a 7-0 lead. The first quarter was 0-0. I thought I had it in the bag, and then the roof fell in on me. And boy, I'll tell you, them Kansas City groups came after me. They thought they heard crickets from Mancini, but they came up short. And then the Cardinals laid an egg last night, so I finished 3-3.
Okay. All right. So how do you feel about this week's matchups? In your opinion, is Buffalo the hottest team in the AFC to look out for? I picked them in the first of the year to face the Bucs in Super Bowl 56. I think the strength of Josh Allen. And then on top of it, that game early on in the year kind of reminds me of the Kansas City game with the Bucs, where the Bucs, of course, lost the game, but it was highly competitive. Could you see Buffalo going to the Super Bowl? Who's your favorite in the AFC this week?
Well, I like Buffalo a lot. I think they know what they're going to be playing for. 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s, left the bad taste in their mouth. They got back to this now. Josh Allen, Diggs, and the guys, they just sent a message in New England. I think they sent a message to Kansas City. If we're coming there, we're not the Steelers. And I'll tell you, they got a lot of weapons there. The State Farm quarterback's going to have to be on his ears there. If it gets cold, Bills can play up to it. I like the Bills in that one, and I like them to host Cincinnati.
Whoa!
In the AFC Championship game. I look for the Bengals to go down there, break some guitars, play on Music City, enjoy Nashville, stop the Titans in their tracks. I like Cincinnati and Buffalo in the AFC and the NFC. Hey, Brady's a driven dude, man. You take them 2 Super Bowls he lost to the Giants, he'd have 8. He's going to make it 9, man. This guy is amazing. They have the ways. They'll circle the wagons once they lost Antonio Brown. They know what's at stake. I like Tampa Bay, and I like the Niners.
Wow.
To go into Green Bay, it's going to be cold. It's going to be snowing. Could be like that Oakland-New England game years ago, the Tuck game. I like these Niners, and the reason I like the Niners is Rodgers 0-3 against the Niners in the playoffs.
Well, that's a good stat. We're on with Mark Mancini of Mancini Media, of course, XM Sirius Radio, and former XPW announcer. Let's talk a little wrestling. Let's shift gears a little bit here. Give me a story from XPW being out there that nobody knows about.
Well, I'll tell you, in the heyday when I was involved with them, I think one of the best shows we ever did was at the Sports Arena, the former home of the Los Angeles Clippers, and man, oh man, that was a great environment there, and they're really trying to get a lot more involved in it now. I know Rob Black's been putting on something in New York. He's trying to bring it back out to Los Angeles, so this is going to be really interesting to see where this thing is going. And really, when you look at it now, with the way the wrestling scene, there's no more ECW. You got AEW, you got the WWE, and the WWE is starting to feel their heat a little. What better way than to bring the XPW back after about 25 years?
I mean, does that work these days? I mean, with everything being so PC, do you think something that extreme, and of course we know that Black and his career with porn and everything like that, could you see something being brought back and it being successful these days, or would it fail, you think?
I think wrestling in more part than one is, they're always looking for something new. I mean, I know XPW pushed the envelope with the tax, with the tables, with, the fire, the barbed wire and everything. I think, if they take it up, who knows? We might be wrestling in a train yard out there in LA and people might be dropping off the passenger train and landing on the caboose. Who knows? But I think the fans like this kind of stuff. I think, they missed that XPW, ECW days. And, I don't put anything past Rob Black to take this up to another level. So who knows?
Speaking of taking it to another level, do you like what AEW is doing with taking it to another level? And I don't know if I asked you this last show, do you think that they can actually threaten a WWE right now with the ratings?
Well, I do. I really do, because I think there's enough for everybody. It's like radio shows across the country. There's enough for everybody to make it. And if you can take advantage and make an impact on it and really push your name out there, yeah, you can do it. AEW's been doing it. They've been going side by side with WWE there. And, you saw WWE. Nobody used to give them a run for their money. And they took over WCW, they took over ECW. So now here comes AEW here. And, before that, we were talking, Southern wrestling in the South there.
Right, Memphis.
Try to give them a run.
Correct.
And it's kind of like football. When you looked at the NFL, everybody laughed at the USFL and everything. But who knows? If foreign money comes into this country, you get some big billionaires and everything. They can. I'm not saying they're going to take out the NFL by any means, but they can enjoy a piece of the pie here, and AEW is doing it.
Now, the rumor this week is Cody Rhodes is basically a free agent, but he has a stake in AEW. Could you see him leaving AEW and possibly going to the Royal Rumble, or is this once again much to do about nothing? Somebody trying to create a rumor that's really nothing that's relevant.
Well, I think he could. I mean, I think the WWE over the last couple of years with all their cuts, losing the Bray Wyatts, the Braun Strowmans, and just cutting all these guys and axing them. To me, you're making a lot of money. You could have kept them on. They gave you the blood, sweat, and tears in every city and all that. So, AEW picking them up left and right, and they're knowing how to market it. They got some deep pockets over there, and I think Vince. The rumors have it that who knows, maybe WWE could be, putting a package together. Maybe Fox will pick it up in the near future. Who knows?
You think Vince does sell it? Because there has been talk that you could sell it to Disney, NBC Peacock picking it up, Nick Khan. And now Nick Khan is somewhat, I guess, a childhood friend of The Rock. Could you see Vince and his family stepping away from WWE and selling it to Nick Khan and eventually have Khan and The Rock run it?
Well, that could be a big thing. I think, Vince, built it through his dad and passed on, and you had Triple H and Stephanie and Shane and all those guys run it. You want to kind of keep it in the family, but if you're going to give a piece of the pie up, give half of it or whatever. Sure. At least keep a substantial amount for your grandkids and everything. But, if you're going to give it to The Rock and, maybe Austin or some of these other guys that you resurrected and you gave them a high platform in WWE, maybe they'll take it and put it in its rightful place. But I think if Disney gets it and stuff, who knows what they'll do with it. They might make it more, PC on it as far as, taking away some of the things on it.
Sure.
And stuff. So that's what I'll miss from it.
I think what the most disappointing thing is, we're on with Mark Mancini, Mancini Media, former XPW announcer, also XM Sirius Radio. The shows that are on Sirius Radio, go ahead and promote those really quick.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm so blessed to do with Fred Wallen and Artie Source out there every Fridays. We get out there, the Sports Byline. These guys are great. Been working with them for years. And, Fred Wallen coined the phrase, Mark Mancini's the world's worst handicapper. Whoever he picks, take the opposite. And one guy, honest to God, sent me a thing on Messenger. He said he made $33,000 on my bets. I said, well, you got to give Fred Wallen some of that money. He coined the phrase. I'm in the equal employment business here. I don't want to take the credit. Fred coined that phrase. Fred should deserve it.
That's awesome. We got the world's worst handicapper, and we got one of the best handicappers on there. And Harry the Greek, we got to get you guys on together. With that being said, right now, one of my events that I look forward to every year in WWE is the Royal Rumble, and WWE really can't ruin this. I mean, do you like what they're doing right now? You have Brock Lesnar versus a Bobby Lashley, and of course, Seth friggin' Rollins, which I don't know why they changed his name. It seems like they're changing his character, which, takes away from him, versus a Roman Reigns. Do you like this booking by WWE? Have they finally gotten it right?
I think they did. I've always liked Reigns, and I remember when he was, a face, the fans always, hated him. It's kind of like the scene of the love-hate relationship. But man, I will tell you, I think he has been the best heel in WWE for quite some time. Could be the best in all the years I've been watching wrestling. The head of the table, show up and win, wreck everybody and leave. I mean, stack them, pin them, whatever. I mean, this guy has done it. And, battling, a lot of health problems over the years. It's nice to see what he's doing. Rollins is another one I've always respected. Built the Shield up with, Ambrose and all those guys. I mean, it's nice to see him. I don't quite like his character, the whole laughing thing, and all that.
I don't get it. I don't know what his character is.
I don't get it.
I don't know what. I never know what Seth Rollins' character is. And that's the problem with WWE at the end of the day. There's so many face turns, heel turns. They ruin characters. I mean, the writing to me is not that good. It needs to improve. It needs to get better and more consistent. But with the Roman Reigns storyline, to me, that has been the best thing about WWE. They have gotten it right. So who do you expect to win the Royal Rumble? And give me a memory from a great Royal Rumble, Mark, that you love.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think Reigns, keeps the belt. I really do. I know, they're teasing it where Rollins could bring it to, Monday Night Raw and change the belt and everything and all that. But, I think Reigns keeps it. I think he broke the streak of Lesnar. He's going to keep it going. Who knows? I don't know how long he can do it because I know they're going to set up that Rock versus Reigns in L.A., and that buildup is going to be something next year out here at SoFi. But some of the best Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble has always been one of the best because every couple minutes you don't know who's coming in there. But,
sure,
boy, I'll tell you that one year when it was Reigns and, The Undertaker coming in there and, and then the confusion of the yes man there. I can't think of his name right off the bat.
Daniel Bryan. Yeah, and the fans were
Yep.
booing at that point. I think the Rock came out and they gave it to Roman Reigns, and clearly, you know, the WWE, they don't really care about the fans at that point. I get it. They gave Daniel Bryan the opportunity to win the championship that year at WrestleMania when he had to go through Triple H and, of course, Randy Orton, and I believe he had to also go through guy that I can't think of him right now. The Animal, Dave Bautista. Yes.
Yep, Bautista.
Yes. So they gave the fans what they wanted to, but they always they don't always do that, so it disappoints some fans. So with all that being said, in your opinion, who's the most likely to win the Royal Rumble, and who benefits the most from doing that?
I really think, you know, as crazy as this may sound, you know, I really think, you know, Braun Strowman, you never know who comes out of this thing, but who knows? You know, he was fired and let go and all that. Maybe Strowman, maybe an Edge. An Edge comes back in this thing. The Miz can come. Whoever draws it at that 27, 28, I think they're in good shape. Anybody I don't think you're going to see any more of those coming in second or third, outlasting everybody, because a lot of standing around. I think whoever comes in the 27, 28, that's the ones you got to really look out for. And you can tell if it's somebody from the past that they're pushing, that's who will win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting because, again, I think a lot of people want to see at the Rumble, they want to see Lesnar versus Lashley, and, of course, they want to see Reigns versus Rollins, and I think eventually it's going to lead up to something bigger, most likely Lesnar versus Reigns at WrestleMania, but who knows at this juncture, and possibly, Big E in that conversation to get back in.
Yeah,
we're on with
no doubt about it. And I'll tell you one guy that really has kept people guessing for a while, and as far as a face or a heel turn, and we got to know him in ECW, is Paul Heyman. Man, Paul Heyman's amazing. You never know what he's doing. He could be playing Reigns against Lesnar. He could be playing Lesnar again. He is the $1 million question there. What is Paul Heyman's take in all this?
What's your experience with Mr. Heyman? I mean, how creative of a wrestling mind is he really?
Well, I think he is. You know, what he did with ECW and moving ECW out here to have that big clash out here on that weekend was amazing with XPW. It was sad to see him sell it to WWE. You know, you hate to build something up and then to turn it over and then work for the company that originally was your product. But boy, I'll tell you, he's a mastermind, and so blessed to see what he's doing, and now he's part of that creative team with WWE and everything. And man, oh man, it's nice. But boy, the storylines he's created are something to behold.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, let's go out to Ben Cornett because he has some wrestling questions. Go ahead, put your wrestling questions in there for Mr. Mark Mancini. Yours truly. As much as I love AEW, what they're doing, they need to slow down on the signings. A lot of wrestlers with only 3 hours of TV a week. I mean, do you agree with that? Too much wrestling, too many wrestling signings, everybody going to AEW right now because they're the promised land. Can this blow up in their face? We still have not heard if Bray Wyatt is going to be one of those guys that signs with AEW. But first question, is it a mistake for AEW to sign all these wrestlers right away?
Well, I think it is in some ways. You know, the problem with WWE, and we talked about it in the last show, and even, you know, with XPW to a certain extent, is they market 3-4 guys. And if you have a stable of a lot of guys and they're not being pushed, then what ends up happening is people feel disenchanted. They feel like, well, we're just here mop-up time and everything.
Sure.
You saw that with Alberto Del Rio. You saw that with a lot of these guys and CM Punk and stuff. They were tired of these part-time guys coming in here when these guys were busting their ass 24/7 and they weren't getting their due. And you know, you see it, but I see what AEW is doing. They're getting a lot of these guys. Okay, if you're going to sign a lot of these guys, then let's market, let's promote them, let's give them their due. Let's do something that the other organizations haven't done, is get everybody in your stable and build them up from the floor up. And that's what your creative team needs to do. If you got 30 guys, give 30 guys a push. Don't just push 2-3 guys. We saw that in WWE for years with Cena, with the Triple H's. You know, that's why probably Batista got tired of it and started doing movies.
Good stuff. Great stuff there from the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini. That's going to be your new nickname here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Cody isn't leaving AEW. He's using this as a storyline, in my opinion. Do you feel like Cody should go heel? I mean, it seems like fans are booing him. I don't know if I want to compare these situations, but you remember where The Rock first came out and he was Rocky Maivia and they were trying to shove him down the fans' throats, and they kept on booing him, and then eventually he turned into The Rock and basically got over with the crowd. Do you feel like Cody Rhodes should turn heel so he can get over even more with the crowd?
Yeah, I do. Well, that's what you saw with Reigns. For years, they didn't want to turn him. They wanted to keep him face. He'd get booed and everything. And when you looked at Rollins, when you looked at Ambrose, they were getting a bit of a push. But when they finally turned heel with Reigns, you saw what he's done with it. So, yeah, it could help Cody Rhodes. I think the face turn is even in the WWE, it wasn't much of a push. But, you know, if give him the heel turn, and let him rule with that. We saw Stone Cold, you know, and the hate. He just didn't give a damn.
Right.
He'd come out with the beer cans, the trucks, and everything. He didn't care who he was, a face, a heel, or anything. But, you know, that's where you need to go with Rhodes. And, you know, I like Cody Rhodes a lot. I liked when he came in with WWE. They pushed him as the mustache man, the Raleigh Fingers look. You know, that didn't go over so much, but yeah, you got to keep pushing him, man. That's what it is. And I like the nickname, the Madman.
The Madman, yeah.
Philly calls me brash, opinionated, controversial. You got the XM, the world's worst handicapper, the Madman ripping up Tampa.
I love it. I love it. Mark Mancini here, the Madman on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Ben Cornette says, Shane McMahon hasn't been around WWE lately. From what I've heard, he's doing his own projects outside of wrestling. I mean, really, Mark, you know, we're all outsiders here, but did WWE really drop the ball with, you know, not having Triple H eventually take over this business? I mean, I think, you know, Vince and Bruce Pritchard, they've seen their best days when it comes to understanding their audience. In your opinion, did they drop the ball with not having Triple H or Shawn Michaels take over the business, especially with what they did to NXT?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I live with 3 words, and it's communication, honesty, and loyalty. And when you lose one of those words, especially the communication aspect of it, you do drop the ball. And Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Did you say drop the ball? Hold on.
Well, you dropped the ball.
Yeah, we don't do that here on the Sports Web. There you go. That's Triple H right there. Yeah. Why do I have that sound effect? I do. I don't know. I'm a nerd. Love it.
They definitely did, because, you know, you want to keep this thing in the family, you know, you know, and that's where I think that's where they had problems with it. And now Shane doing his own thing. And boy, you know, when you had Shane as the wrestler and going against the Undertaker and everything, the love, the care and he put into that.
He was over. He is such an underrated wrestler. Such an underrated wrestler. Some of the matches he had, you talk about the Undertaker, him and Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam. He could go. I mean, he took it seriously. Vince McMahon, hey, you know, Vince is the boss. He could throw a couple clotheslines in there, maybe a couple. But Shane McMahon, he could wrestle. He definitely could get over with the crowd.
Yeah, he did. And you know, my prayers and thoughts are the other one I worked out with, and you know, Sunny. I know she had a problem last week up in Jersey, and boy, my prayers and thoughts go out to her, because she was part of our XPW too.
Yeah, well, she's had various problems. Of course, she went into the Hall of Fame, cleaned up, and now it seems like she's up to her old tricks again. She was involved in some other adult activities and drugs and stuff like that. And of course, she had a relationship with New Jack, and we can get into New Jack some other time.
Well, not only, you know what, I think the thing that killed her, and I got to know him too, was, God rest his soul, was Chris Candido. You know, being married to him, and, you know, that was it. That was, once he went, I think that's set her on a bad road.
Well, that's like her lover of life, right? I mean, they met in high school, and they went to ECW together. They were packaged in WWE. Eventually, they went to WCW, and then I believe he overdosed, correct? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think something like that. He was part of our XPW, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, they came as a package in XPW, and great guy, great, you know, and Sonny was great. And, some great people I got to work with. And, I told you that last show, Nicole Bass and all those great people. And
Right.
man, oh man, it's just unbelievable to think about those days, coming up like on the 25th anniversary, believe it or not.
It's crazy. New Jack, that's always talked about in XPW, the scaffolding match. I'm trying to think of the other wrestler that he went at. I'm trying to think of it, but the story is the other wrestler at the time hurt New Jack and fractured his skull. So Rob Black and XPW came up with this scaffolding match, and basically New Jack, the story is he was gonna throw this guy off the scaffolding, and he did, and it was crazy. He's lucky that the wrestler's not, and I can't think of the wrestler's name right now. I have to look him up.
I know.
But give me a story about New Jack that nobody knows.
Well, New Jack was a great, just an unbelievable wrestler. You saw these guys in the back of the locker room and stuff, and just a great guy when I was in XPW and stuff. And, it's these guys have some great stories. I mean, there's a lot of guys people don't get to know, the Messiahs, the Supremes, God rest his soul. He passed away a couple of years ago. Jake Lawless, Homeless Jimmy. I mean, there was just so many of these guys. Damian Steele, and we had the Sandman come in. I mean, Sabu. I mean, Abdullah the Butcher out of Atlanta. I mean, just so many great guys.
Vic Grimes is the wrestler. I can't
Vic
believe
Grimes.
I forgot that. Vic Grimes.
Vic Grimes, that was it.
Oh my gosh. And you watch that footage, and I always go back to like Owen Hart in the stunt. And you didn't get a chance to see that, but they continued the pay-per-view. Of course, he had the bungee cord and he went down about 80 feet in the air, and they didn't show it. And you watch that footage and you're like, how in the world did Grimes not die at that point, not break his neck, be brutally injured?
Not only that, I can remember the tag matches and all that with Messiah and Supreme just battling it out in some things. And I mean, just taking the cats stuck on the back of your bald head, and unbelievable to see the least. And it just, I think when you looked at it, you had ECW on the East Coast that was hardcore, but XPW on the West Coast, and being more passive and everything.
Sure.
Rob Black turned that thing into a hardcore playground, kind of like the East Coast in some ways.
Literally, where once again, he was a porn owner. He had porn stars as valets. They had porn actually being shot there, and wrestlers cheating with the wife. I mean, it's all documented on Dark Side of the Ring. Did you get a chance to look at that documentary, and how accurate was it?
Yeah, I saw it. He had the Lizzie Bordens, and, the Christy Misses.
Right.
Man, I'll tell you one thing, man. I like Christy Miss. I mean, what a great lady. And I think she was from Dallas, Texas. What a great, there were so many of these great ladies. And, some of them were a little tough to deal with, more ways than one. They thought, you were below them, but more ways than one. We had fun. And, man, I'll tell you, I had that attitude back then. I just didn't give a crap, and coming out to the ring and giving the crowd wherever we went an earful and getting the full beers thrown at me and all that. Man, I'll tell you one thing. I used to go home and smell like a tavern.
Well, I mean, a lot of people thought that ECW was taking place in a bingo hall or a tavern at that point, but I'll tell you right now, watching that as a kid late night, because they couldn't put it on because some of the storylines they were putting out there were just ahead of their time, and there's no way you could get away with it now, not the way the censors are and everything else like that. Madman Mark Mancini here. Go ahead and wrap this up. Let's talk about Kevin Owens and Austin Theory. What do we think? What do we make of this situation? And then Finn Balor. Finn Balor, to me, is the most underused wrestler. He is over with the crowd. He can absolutely go, but it comes down to what? Is it the size of him because he is such a small wrestler, why he's not being pushed to the main event scene, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think here's another guy that's getting lost in the shuffle, and when you look at him, I mean, he keeps himself in great shape. Maybe he's going to go back to Demon Valor or whatever, but They got to do something with him. This guy is really, he's just not getting pushed. And you push a guy like Austin Theory with the selfies and all that.
Sure.
And Vince McMahon pushing him. And, you know, he's not going to lose any matches because he doesn't want to get his face ripped up so he can show pictures back to his mom from Vince McMahon.
Right.
But I will tell you one thing. Kevin Owens looks like he spends a lot of time at a hometown buffet, but he has one of the best mic skills ever. That guy from Montreal, man, is simply amazing. And boy, what him and his sidekick, Sami Zayn have done.
Yep.
They have really put the WWE, the conspiracy theory that he's concocted. But I will tell you, I just love Owens. I love him as a heel. I love him as a face. Whatever he does, you just got to have this guy involved in WWE and not let him go to AEW. And good thing they didn't. But man, oh man, have you seen better mic skills than him? I mean, Roman Reigns worked on his, but other than Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and The Rock, and man, Kevin Owens is right up there along with Rollins.
I agree, and I tell you right now, I think what separates AEW and WWE is the fact that AEW, their writers don't get in the way of their wrestlers, namely, like a Jon Moxley, who's coming back after 3 months of a hiatus, getting the help that he needed. They allow wrestlers to be their own man. They don't write, they don't script. Do you think that WWE needs to do more of that? Let the wrestlers be their own guys, and that's when you have a great promo.
Well, that's exactly what, everybody has a strength in life. And I think the world sometimes plays off a weakness, and maybe they're not big enough and everything. Play off their strength, I know my dad always used to tell me, son, nobody really cares what you know till they know how much you care. When you work for somebody that cares about your well-being every day, you're going to run through a wall for them. And that's what these guys got to take in anything, whether it's doing radio or anything. You push your guys forward and let them believe in what they're doing is good and coach them along the way. I'm telling you, that's what we're missing in today's society. We don't see enough of that. And that's what's lacking in the wrestling industry, I believe.
All right, Madman, let's go ahead and read some of these questions, and then we'll get you out of here for the night. We're on with the Madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini on Mancini Media, XM, Sirius Radio. Let's see. Ben Cornett, once again, why have brand splits? If you're going to have Seth Raw face a SmackDown champion, I actually like Seth and Roman going one-on-one. You agree? Should they end the brand split? Why or why not?
Well, I think the brand split, and it's a great question. I think the brand split was that they had so many guys and start building the brands. And then what ended up happening, you had Raw with 3 hours, 2 hours with SmackDown. And, and the problem is SmackDown is Fox. And that was a good thing. Everybody wanted to be on part of that. And then I think Fox dictated who was going to come over, who wasn't going to come over. The rest of the guys were on Raw. I think that's the key. I think you have to do I like the brand split, but you got to market it with the same guys without having this crossover free agent stuff.
I like it a lot. Good stuff. Seth's character is based off the Joker from what I've read. Ben, again, Lesnar loses the WWE title to Lashley, will enter the Royal Rumble and win it to face Roman at WrestleMania. I say Bianca Belair will win the Women's Royal Rumble. Agree?
Oh, man. I you know what? She lost it. They're pushing it, but I don't think, with the Charlotte Flairs, with the big time Becks and everything, they're going to keep those belts on them. I think she'll come up short. They're going to try to treat her. I'm not saying she's going to be treated like Sonya Deville's treating Naomi, but I think she doesn't get the shot to get the belt back.
Did they do her injustice? And that would be Belair when they handed the belt to Becky with, what was it, like a 30-second win at the Royal Rumble? SummerSlam. Did they do her injustice by doing that? I mean, did they ruin her character?
I think they did, because they should have built up to that, where maybe Becky turned on her, later on in the year. Case in point, getting back at, talking about ruining characters. When Bray Wyatt tried to, take
Bray Wyatt.
Undertaker. Yeah, Bray Wyatt tried to take the Undertaker and, his brother under there. That would have been a hell of an entourage, and they killed that thing.
Well, they should have put Bray Wyatt over the Undertaker, and then you have your new Undertaker. I mean, if you want somebody to kill the streak, it's Bray Wyatt all day long. and you make that realistic. You have no reason to give that to Brock Lesnar. No reason at all. He does nothing for the company. He's a part-time player. I get it. He sells tickets, but really in the grand scheme of things with the future of wrestling, if you put it on Bray Wyatt, you let him have the streak, you make him into that new monster like The Undertaker, you got something going. Once again, the WWE dropped.
Well, you dropped the ball.
And I'm just waiting for him to sign with AEW at this point.
Well, how about Alexa Bliss? That was another.
Well, they gave her Bray Wyatt's character, and it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It makes no sense at all. It's terrible.
Yeah, and some of these characters don't. We can go back to Bad News Brown and all those good ones, the Rick Rudes, and God rest his soul. But then you look at this Nikki, almost a superhero. That's a crazy character. That should have been killed.
Ridiculous.
I mean,
it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's all ridiculous at this point.
Yep. And now we're going to find out what's going on with the Alpha Academy. I think that's another ridiculous one. And RK Bro is going to break up here. I think they'll be part of the Royal Rumble too.
I agree. All right, Madman Mark Mancini, go ahead and promote yourself. We got to run, but love the interaction when we're talking professional wrestling and, of course, NFL playoffs. Go ahead once again and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I'm so blessed to be a part of this every week with you on different days, man. Coming in here and talking about Liberty Bell Smack on Philadelphia's WWDB this Thursday. Marianne Costello, Sal Tartaglia, and myself welcome you.
Yes.
To Philadelphia, my friend.
Yes. Sounds good.
Along with Claudio Rosono out of Pittsburgh. So it's going to be one hell of a show. Last week we had Freddie Coleman, ESPN on.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. The madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini. Thanks a lot for your time, and we'll see you next Wednesday night. All right, my friend?
I love you, brother. I love the coin phrase, the madman. Have a blessed one. I love these guys.
All right, there you go. That's what I talk about right there. You guys thought, oh, he's going to talk wrestling tonight? Yep, I am. Sean, go ahead and call back. Let's read these comments from Ben. Want to get to all of your football comments, but also wrestling comments. We read that. Ben Cornette says Seth's character is based off the Joker. All right. Vince says he was paying ECW for years to help Heyman during that era. David says, hey, Grayson, we need you. Ben says, dashing Cody Rhodes. Actually, that was a funny gimmick by the early 2010s. Shame on how Candido passed away. He had a blood clot in his leg that ended up killing him. I didn't know that. Thank you very much. Ben Cornette says Vic Grimes. Absolutely. I actually have NXT 2.0 right on right now, and it's a shame that LA Knight isn't on the main roster. He's a guy who's really underutilized and is above this NXT 2.0 stuff. He was over in Impact Wrestling. He was over in NWA Power, and now he's not. You know why? Because he's a smallish wrestler, and that's what they don't like. They don't like small guys. Actually, Tony Khan books all the shows. He doesn't have a creative team. Chris Cole says Hedman scored. It's 1-0 with under 2 minutes to go. And the first, Ben Cornette, I miss Little Miss Bliss. I agree with you. And Ben Cornette, they turned Piper Niven into Dewdrop. That they did, Ben Cornette. Good stuff there. Let's go out to this guy. Let's get his walk-up music on. All right, go ahead, Sean, the Sports Don. You're back here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television live on I Love St. Pete and the Hub. Go for it.
Yeah, brother, I'm giving you a second call, man.
I know you are.
I'm giving you a second call because I heard you talking with another caller not too long after I talked on, and I was just wondering why you guys getting on my boy Dak Prescott like that.
Well, because the reason why we got on Dak Prescott is how are you making $40 million as an NFL quarterback and don't know the rule of giving the ball not to your center, Sean the Sports Don?
That's not that was not your argument. Your argument was why he ran the ball and then throw it away and stuff like that. That was the play call from the sideline.
Yeah, it's a terrible play call. That's the point where you're audible out.
No. When you are in that situation, if you're coach and your offensive coordinator says, we want you to run this ball because we think we can spike the ball to get a pass from the 25-yard line as opposed to being from the 50-yard line. That's what he did. Now, at the end of the day, no, they did not, whether it's the offensive lineman, whether it was Dak Prescott, anybody who didn't hand the ball to the referee to give the ball away, that's one thing. But to say that Dak Prescott made the decision to run the ball and he was dumb for doing that, that's what they called. That was a designed run. That's what they told him to do, and that's what he did. Now, that was a bad thing to do from a coaching standpoint in terms of you should have ran something else, but he ran the play that was called. You cannot get mad at Dak Prescott for running a play that was called. He ran the play that was called. It was not executed because at the end of the day, once the ball is dead, they didn't do what they had to do in terms of letting the ref spot the ball.
Well, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He gave it to a center. So let's put the blame on him also. And I think I think another thing that's disappointing.
Hold on. But that's not what you guys were arguing. You guys were arguing the fact that he ran the ball. And what I'm saying is that was the play call. So again, he did that, but at the end of the day, the ref was supposed to spot the ball. And yes, whether it was Dak or the center, because the center got the ball, whatever, yes, they were supposed to spot it. But you cannot say that Dak Prescott did something that no other quarterback would have done because they should have threw the ball away or whatever. They told him to run the ball. And that was a play call that your head coach came out and said, this is what we tried to run.
Well, it's terrible. It's a terrible play call.
But that's different than Dak Prescott doing something dumb.
Well, I think the dumb thing that he did, my point was the dumb thing that he did, we're on with Sean, the sports don here, defending Dak Prescott, the Dak Prescott fan club of one here in Tampa. You're a defensive guy, too. You're a Chris Godwin guy, too. Okay? Shut up. You're a Quan Alexander guy, too. Be quiet. And you're also Beckham.
No, I wasn't a Quan Alexander guy. You're lying. I was what's the other linebacker from LSU?
Beckham.
Never heard his Beckham.
Yeah.
I told you when the Bucs signed Beckham.
Yeah, and he's no longer on an NFL team. So you went broke there, my friend, with the fan clubs. The fan clubs are over with.
You know what? I tell all Buck fans this: if he never had that car accident, we probably wouldn't have Devin White here because that young man was playing a good brand of football.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and
I agree.
We never would have probably did it because I thought that guy and Chris Godwin was a very good steal for the Bucs later on in the draft because I really like those guys. But the only thing I was just trying to say is let's not say that Mr. Dak Prescott did something dumb. That was the play call, and we could dissect that whether or not we should have done that.
I'll tell you right now, and maybe it was the play call, but the result of it. Okay, it wasn't. Okay, so if it was the play call, then all right, then what transpired afterwards? What the madman was saying, Mark Mancini from Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, my wrestling correspondent here on the Evolution. You gotta love that.
I heard him.
He's good. He's real good. He's real passionate. I like that. Would Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or somebody like that, Russell Wilson, would they have handed the ball to their center or would they have handed the ball to the umpires so the umpire could set the ball down so you could spike it? Would those quarterbacks that are getting paid that big of money committed a mistake like Dak did the other day?
Well, here's the thing that you guys are missing. First of all, you gotta understand the coach, McCarthy, came out after the game and was talking about, hey, I did the right thing, and he started blaming the refs after the game. You gotta remember that.
It's easy to blame the refs, but McCarthy, instead of getting massages up in your coaching room there, your suite that Jerry Jones has for you, which he's done in the past with the Green Bay Packers, which is the reason why he got fired in the first place. Instead of getting massages, have a disciplined team so they don't have 14 penalties and you don't have that situation.
But again, here's the thing. What I'm trying to say before you cut me off, McCarthy obviously came out and he defended the play call because that's the play call they called. Now, whether or not he had them prepared to know I have to hand the ball to the ref so they can spot the ball, that's a whole totally different conversation now. So when we talk about is the coach putting your players in position, or am I coaching and letting them know what they're supposed to happen? That's a whole totally different thing. So again, I'm just going back to when you guys said that Dak Prescott was done for running the ball. See, first of all, Tom
Well,
Brady
we got past that. We went past that a long time ago, okay? Well, I'll give you that. I'll give you that it was a coach's call. I want to talk about afterwards. Would a quarterback like a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, who's getting paid that buku money, would they have, given the ball to their center instead of the umpire? Yes or no?
But again, I'm asking, what are the coaches doing to let their players know?
He should know it. He's a professional quarterback. Every quarterback knows it. That's the point.
But here's the thing. Your coach did not come out and say,
then he needs to be fired. Then they need to go with Sean Payton or somebody else.
But
that's still on Dak Prescott. How does Dak Prescott not know that rule?
No, it's not. Because again, your coach has to let your players know the situation every time. When you call a timeout, when a coach calls a timeout, it's like, hey, just think about it like this. Let's not even talk about the end of a game situation. When a coach gives a player, a quarterback, a call in the huddle, they will say, if you get this type of look, check to this type of play. If you get this type of look, check to this type of play. They give them all the rules to the game so that quarterback can make the right decision. So if the quarterback does it, the quarterback at the end of the game and say, yes, we didn't execute properly because we've given the rules to the game. But your coach came out after this and tried to blame the refs for everything and said the refs didn't get up to the ball fast enough because the coach didn't even know I had to give the ball to the ref for them to spot it. So that's what I'm saying. So it's easy to try to try to blame.
Well,
Dak Prescott,
I am going to blame him I'm going to blame him for this. When he was asked about it, that there was debris being thrown at players. And hold on a sec, Sean. Curtis, hold the line. We got Sean on here. Stand by. We'll go out to Curtis here in a moment. But Sean, I can't. He's got to be at fault for something. When he was told about fans throwing debris to the players, he said, "Oh well, it's disappointing." Then when the subject was changed and he found out that the fans were actually throwing the debris to the referees, he says credit to them. Come on, man. You got to take some responsibility. You can't be condoning. Wait a minute. You can't be condoning fans throwing trash at the refs. Now, come on. We're professional than that.
First of all, I think all fans, and listen, well, wait a minute. I'm the only guy that's ever been on this show and been on your show when you always want to get on the refs for call. I say I never get on refs for having bad games, and because there's 70 other plays that the players could make plays. So when a ref has a bad holding call or a bad pass interference call, we shouldn't get on the refs. So that's first of all. So now for you to get up here and get mad at Dak Prescott for doing the same thing that you have done and get on the refs for making
it's different. He's a professional quarterback in the National Football League. He represents the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL Shield. It's not right for him to come up there and say on his platform, hey, fans, it's okay for you to throw trash. Credit to you, buddy. No, credit to you. You're an idiot for saying that.
No, but again, here, but I will say this. He, by him saying that, and he said, they thought the refs was in a bad situation, that means that organization did not tell him that when you get there, that the ref supposed to touch the ball and place it. So he's thinking the same way the fans are thinking because that's what your coach came out and said after the game. He thought the refs were in a bad position.
And he had an
And the
opportunity
ref-
to walk away from the comments the day
No,
after,
but I'm
and he
saying,
didn't
at
do
the
it.
end, but at the end of that game, he didn't know that the ref was in the wrong. At the end of the day,
Well,
he thought
it
the
doesn't.
refs did wrong.
You know what the
because your
consistent
coach-
thing is,
because
Sean?
your-
You know
your-
what the consistent thing
coach-
is, Sean? The coach doesn't
your
know what's
coach-
going on. The quarterback doesn't know what's going on. The
Okay,
fans
but you
don't
can't
know
blame
what's
the
going on.
quarterback.
I
So you
blame
gotta
them all.
blame-
I blame them all. They're all equally
you gotta
worthless.
blame-
All
You
equally
gotta
worthless.
blame the coach. You know why? Let me ask you a question. Have we ever had a situation or talked about a guy like, let's say, no, Bill Belichick, whether or not you like him or love him,
Yeah.
we've never questioned Bill Belichick's knowledge of the rules of the game. I mean, he the one that brought up the tuck rule. He the one that said, hey, the tuck rule. He the one threw that flag for the tuck rule.
Right,
He
right.
knew about the tuck
Right.
rule. Nobody knew about the tuck rule but Bill Belichick.
Well, what's your point?
So my point is the coach knows. And so if at the end of the game, if you got a quarterback saying the same thing that your coach is saying in terms of, oh, the ref probably didn't spot the ball, then that means they're not getting taught what the real about the rules of the game are.
Sean,
so for us to sit up there,
let me get this straight. You're condoning the fact for a professional quarterback to let the fans know.
No, what I'm
that's what I'm asking right now.
I'm condoning the fact is if you are a great coach and you prepare your team for every situation that takes place, then that quarterback knows it because the coach has told them, because he's the coach. And if your coach didn't tell him, and if your coach comes out and saying the same stupid crap that the quarterback is saying, you cannot get on the quarterback for not knowing when your coach don't know.
I am talking about the situation when he was told clearly that the fans were throwing garbage at refs, and he said, credit to you guys, because he feels like I don't care if the refs messed up. You shouldn't be throwing garbage at human beings.
No, but again, he thought at the same time, just like his coach thought, the refs possibly lost the game for him in that instant.
Oh,
no,
bullshit. Oh, bullspit.
No, no, it's not. I'm just giving you the real.
14 penalties lost the game. The turnovers lost the game. The situational football. So when he's saying that kind of stuff, he looks like a dumbass.
No, because here's the thing, Spider, and this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
The last bullcrap penalty, like, you know what? We get mad. I've said this before on this show. I'm a Buck fan. You know I'm a Buck fan.
Sure.
We get mad at we playing the Rams this week, right? We get mad at the Bert Emanuel catch as if that's why the Bucks lost. Why it was a horrible call. We all can agree. But the Bucks in that whole game did a whole lot of things that allowed them to lose, but we still put it on that one play.
I agree.
And we still say the Bucks that play call with Bert Emanuel is the reason why we lost, even though in the very first part of the game, we got an interception. We was at the 5 and we didn't push the ball in the
I agree. That was the third play of the game. But here's the point.
We as Buck fans, we continue to beat up the refs. Tony Dungy, at the end of that game, beat up the refs for that play call. And everybody beat up the refs for that Bert Emanuel. Matter of fact, we got to rule the Bert Emanuel catch. But if you go back and play the whole game, that's not the reason why the Bucks lost, but that's why we say we lost. And oh, by the way, the quarterback, the coach, and the Cowboy fans think that one spot of the ball is the reason why they lost. It's not the reason why they lost.
It still doesn't condone the fact of them throwing garbage at the refs and the quarterback supporting it. That's the point.
If we were in Tampa Stadium, I can guarantee you when that Bert Emanuel thing happened, we probably would have been throwing stuff at the refs.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is? If Tom Brady's in that game or a quarterback that's professional and is getting told that fans are throwing garbage at the refs, he's going to say, hey, there's no reason for that, okay? There's no reason. Instead,
we don't know.
I have
Tom
never
Brady
heard
said-
a professional
Tom
quarterback
Brady
get up on a
said slick
podium
stuff.
and say it's okay to throw garbage at refs because they missed a call. Get out.
Tom Brady done said.
Oh,
Tom Brady done said some slick stuff out here. So let's stop acting like that.
You're drunk.
Stop acting
You're
like that.
absolutely
Hey, listen,
drunk.
No, I'm not drunk. Listen, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, all of them have said slick stuff out their mouth on that podium. Now, whether or not we want to agree with it after it's over, or whether or not we allow it to continue, like, we're not going to talk about this later on.
It's a bad look. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's unprofessional. It's a bad look.
But you gotta also understand this too. That was said in jest. That was a joke. So now you just talked about. Well,
because he had an opportunity. Because he had an opportunity to back off the comments, and he still would say nothing. Now, come on.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We just talked when my first call. We just talked about everybody getting a little bit heated when Arians drop kicked your boy or headbutted. It was like, oh, y'all just.
Will you shut up? He didn't drop kick anybody. What do you? He's got a torn Achilles. He can't drop kick anybody.
He elbowed him.
He gave him a love tap and tapped him on the
Now
helmet.
you call it a love
You're
tap.
throwing garbage at referees.
When you like a guy, it's a love tap. But see, that's what you just said. Oh, just a love tap.
It is a love tap. I like to give you a love
when,
tap right on your head right now.
So when Dak Prescott made a little joke and said, "Oh well, I don't care about that," I thought it was.
I don't think he was joking about it. I don't.
Yeah, he was. Come on, man.
The joke was the real joke was the real joke was when he handed the ball to his center instead of handing the ball to the ref. That's the real joke. That's a joke.
Definitely was the.
Right.
That definitely was a joke. But you saw a team that was not prepared for every situation.
I agree with that.
That's what
I agree with that.
That's what happened there. But when he said that, he was just making a little joke, and we're making it a little bit bigger.
I'm making a little joke with you right now. How about this? How about that?
Hey, you know what? And I would love to be on it. You know what you got to do, Spider? And I love you, brother.
I love you too,
man.
brother.
Because I know the young man who's just calling in. Because I think that's the thing. He's probably trying to get his third call in.
He's trying to get his third call in. That'd be Curtis from Newport.
I know he's trying to get. I know he want to come at me so bad. I know he want to come at me so bad. I know he do. And I would love to go at him too, brother. I would love to go at it too, man. But I love the banter. I love the back and forth, bro. But let me tell you something. Them boys is home, and let's just hope our Buccaneers, because we've seen our coach do some stupid stuff sometimes too, and we don't seem like we prepared, and and whatnot, and we gotta debate it. We can't be like that next week. We got to make sure we know exactly what's going on. Okay, take a time out back to back, like we've seen our Buccaneers do. Take a bad time out back to back, and we get that penalty.
I agree.
We can't do that.
Can't have those mental mistakes. You can't have Carlton Davis taking off his helmet, picking up 15 yards. You can't have.
There you go.
I agree.
And those are things that the coaches have to start driving into you. So it is like easy as like breathing or blinking. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just second nature. And it wasn't second nature. They run that play, but it wasn't second nature that makes sure that the ref get the ball. And they didn't know that. And when you see your head coach coming out and defending it and saying, hey, the refs are supposed to do this. When you run a play and when you're a coach and your defense of it is the ref didn't do their job, like, what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with the execution if the ref has to do his job. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
All right, so I'll go ahead and give you a Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Jesus. Thanks a lot for the calls tonight. Definitely don't be a stranger of one of the founding fathers of the sports web, Mr. Sean the Sports Don, all right?
Brother, ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh and so clean.
Would you shut up and be quiet?
Shut up!
All right, man. Appreciate the call. We'll see you later.
Man, y'all have a good evening, man. We'll talk, brother.
We will talk. All right. That's all he does is talk. All right, let's go out to this guy. Let's get his walk on. Yeah! All he does is talk. That's it. I can't believe I did like 4 years, 5 years of radio with that guy.
Hold on, Peter. Sean, I'm not coming for you, bro. But I do disagree with some of the things that you said. First of all, let me tell you something. That you're dealing when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys, you're talking about a dysfunctional organization because you having a delusional, egotistical
delusional. That right there is perfect for the Dallas Cowboys. The delusional fan base and the delusional organization thinking they have a chance to make the Super Bowl every
because
year.
You have an egotistical, maniacal owner who makes it all about himself.
Skeletor himself.
Dude, this guy, if he was the owner of the Bucs, I would never be a Bucs fan. Ever.
Oh, don't lie. You would be a fan of the Bucs no matter what.
Jerry Jones is a serious piece of work. Serious piece of work. And let me say this. I do agree with you that one play sometimes does not change the dynamic for the other 70.
Correct.
Game.
Agree.
But some of those plays, some of those bad calls change the momentum swing in these games.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
When the momentum swings in the games, excuse my French, shit can get ugly real fast.
Of course it can. Absolutely can get ugly. You're absolutely right about that.
And that Bird Emanuel call, it didn't. There was other things in that game that, whatever. But that call was huge.
Of course it was. They changed the rule the very next year. Of course it was huge.
Just like that pass interference call in the Rams-Saints game.
Right.
That was huge.
Right.
Like, this whatever the Saints tried to do, they couldn't come back from that shit. They couldn't.
We heard from Chidi Ahana a couple months ago how he was upset, still upset when I mentioned the Rams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, I don't have anything against Dak Prescott. I really don't, except for he plays for Dallas.
Right.
Okay. Mistakes get made. But, the one thing that I want to say is this. I understand that, he had to take the play call from the offensive coordinator and the head coach. But all pro quarterbacks
don't forget, they don't forget to give the ball to the umpire.
Not only that, I'm sorry, but if Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers thought that was a dumbass call, they probably would have audibled right there at the line.
Of course they are. And when he's asked about it in the press conference and they say, well, you got fans throwing debris at you. And he's like, well, I don't really like that. I don't really respect that, And it's like, oh, well, they were actually throwing it at referees. Oh, credit to them. It's like, what? Huh? You're a professional quarterback. That's not funny at all.
Well, listen, Cowboys fans are already delusional because for the last 30 years, they've said that they were going to make the Super Bowl every year. And
right.
They haven't sniffed past the NFC Championship game. I mean, they haven't been in the NFC Championship game. So, I mean, listen, dude. They just talk too damn much. Just shut up and play the damn game. As a Bucs fan, I learned to be like, hey, even with Tom Brady, I don't want to talk. During the game, I don't want to talk. I don't care if we're up by 40 points. I don't want to talk until the damn game is over.
Thank you. And why do you always get around people that you watch the games with and they want to talk to you? You're like, is the game over with? They're like, no, but they're up by 20. It doesn't matter. The game's not over yet. Shut up.
That's like last night. The Cardinals were down by 28 going into half.
Correct.
I said, man, let me tell you something. This game's not over yet. Arizona could have got hot and came back easily. 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, if Kyler Murray would have grew about 3 or 4 inches taller, yeah, possibly.
Well,
he looked lost last night, man. That was a bad game.
You know what people forget about Arizona? They have a terrible offensive line.
Yes.
Their offensive line is not good at all.
Yes. And just because you have a mobile quarterback doesn't mean you need to exercise that.
He was running for his life like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
He was. You're exactly right.
And here's another thing what people don't forget. when you have a receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, all you have to do is throw the ball in his vicinity. AJ Green isn't what he once used to be.
Correct.
Don't get me wrong, Tyler. What's his name? Zach Ertz.
Yep.
I love the guy. He's a great tight end, but he's up there in age too.
Yep.
They didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. That offensive line is banged up, and it already wasn't a great offensive line. They couldn't run the damn ball. Like, are you serious? There was other things to that game besides just Kyler Murray. Now, the problem is with the NFL is when you lose the game, everybody wants to blame the quarterback. When you win the game, he gets all the credit.
Right.
And, like everybody's blaming Dak Prescott. The shit starts at the top. It starts with Jerry Jones putting all the expectations on his team when he's the last person that's going to be on the field doing anything.
Yep. You're exactly right. You're absolutely right, my friend. Good stuff as always. Let me go ahead and give you the Byron Leftwich.
Bucks, baby.
Appreciate the calls tonight, my friend. We'll be yes.
Tell Sean I'm not coming for you, bro. I would never come for a Bucks fan. If you were a Cowboys fan, I would rip you into the
Well, I tell you right now, that would be a hell of a debate. We need to get that debate going again between some callers. We used to want to do that on that small radio station, but it had 1,000 watts. We couldn't get it together because nobody could hear the signal, but you can hear it here on I Love St. Pete in the Hub. So we'll work on that. Good stuff, Curtis. Appreciate the call, my friend. All right?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, buddy. Go Bucks as always. Let's read these comments and then we'll get out of here for the night. Been a long night. It's been a good night, though. Lots of calls, lots of commentary. People pumped up for Bucks versus the Rams on Sunday night at 3:00. Sunday day. It's getting late. Obviously, it's getting late because I'm starting to muffle around here. Bruce Arians is a bully. All right. Well, this is what you get for that.
Shut up!
Reports are coming out. Bruce Arians makes players take cold showers. Yeah. Okay.
Shut up!
Antonio, what did he just say about Jackpot Joe? I don't know who he said. Who's Jackpot Joe? Go Bucks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I don't know who that is, but thanks a lot for tuning in. Stafford didn't play very well. Troy again. Leftwich and Bulls. Roger Shoe. Where's Harry? Where's Policy Scouts logo? Well, it's not on this show. That's on the other show. We'll make him pay for that. How about that? Huh? That'd be a good idea, right? Sponsorships. And of course, I don't know if I told you this, but this program is brought to you by BetUS.com. That's right. If you're betting on NFL football, NCAA, NBA, NHL, or even UFC action, go to BetUS.com. 125% sign up bonus. And if you go and use this promo code right there, BetUS, promo code TSW22, again, TSW22, which stands for the Sports Web, and the number right there, 1-800-69-BET-US, again, 1-800-69-BET-US. Thank you very much for that reminder. You need to represent. I always represent here. Chris Cole says Arizona held the Rams to 14 points in the first quarter. Roger says free Aaron Donald. Michael says if Davis had his helmet on, he had gotten slapped. I like that. I'll kind of fire the cannons for that. McVay is cocky and showboat. Sitton says, me too, bro. Troy Polamalu, King Troy, Trojan Legend at Sea. When Brady leaves, the Bucs won't sniff the playoffs for another 15 years. Not ready to say that. David says, not one of the sports experts are talking about our defense. It's all about the Rams. We need a running game or we're in trouble. I agree. And like I said, get ready, Bucs fans, for the national media hellstorm of the sky is falling and falling hard on this Bucs team because the Rams are a superior team because they clobbered Arizona. Come on. Sheesh. What's up, Pete? How's the Rolex? Rolex is doing good. There it is right there. Thank you. All right. The Bucs got this. I like it. She says again, no one is beating the Bucs this year. Much love, Petey. Talk to you later. This is ominous. Thank you very much, ominous. Appreciate you. Let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucks, baby?
And once again, appreciate all the comments and the calls here. let's go ahead and go out to the rest of these. Christopher Cole, Vaughn is becoming a decent running back. Massages, laugh out loud. Who is that? Who is saying that? Go ahead and type in the link. I can't see it, who that is. You talk too much, says Sitton. Yeah, that's what I said to Sean. We never had a problem with filling 2 hours. In fact, we had to cut commercials because we all had to talk. BA couldn't pull on Adams because he couldn't walk. And Chris Cole says Dak apologizes, but the damage is done. Thanks to all of our guests, Mr. Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, former Coach Scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, It's Sports Mag, and of course the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini of Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, and of course former XPW announcer. We'll have that segment on Wednesday nights, getting your wrestling questions and also talking about sports in general. Tomorrow night we'll be back here live on I Love St. Pete and of course the Hub. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube, of course, and do 3 things for me. We'll try to have Dennis Phillips, Harry the Greek. You know how it works here. 3 things, quiz afterwards. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Have a great night.
Stan Arthur here for the I Love St. Pete Facebook group. If you're a business owner looking to connect with tens of thousands of potential new local customers, you owe it to yourself to get enrolled in our Key Tag Rewards program. Since 2019, we've signed up more than 200 local merchants. Sponsor opportunities are available too, such as our group banner ad and even your own custom key tags. Just go to stpetekeytag.com, get enrolled, and get ready to get busy. stpetekeytag.com.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
That 27 beer spilt on me. Make that 28.
I've only got one place to go before the game.
BetUS.com.
Sign up at BetUS.com and get the best bonuses in the industry.
Merry Christmas. Say, I love football. Say this. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Tampa. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Say Tampa. Bay. Bay. Oh my God.